Hello. Welcome, everyone. Yes. This is our first guest. And this is
Greetings.
the first episode of the Observatory. And hi, you stinky too, to you, Rez. But,
Right out the gate. Come on.
well, that's what Rez always says when he comes in the chat. But, this is gonna be a talk show, but not like a lot of other talk shows. Of course, I'm gonna be asking Shin a bunch of questions about himself, but I'm also going to be telling him things about himself using his chart. Now, some of you know what it's like to have your chart read by me, some of you don't. So you'll get to see him having it happen to him firsthand. So, what?
What
Okay.
was that?
Boyfriend was saying audio check with you because you're a little quiet.
Am I? Again? Damn.
I'm gonna raise you some more.
Now I'm starting to think it's my mic. I don't know.
Is that better?
I don't know. You tell me.
It shows him peeking on my side. What
Peeking. Wow. I always knew I was peak. Thank you so much.
peek? Let's see. I can't really put you much higher than that. And your volume, everything is up. So,
Interesting. Well, how high is your is it really showing me peaking?
yeah, you go to the red. Well, not completely peaking, but you're going into the red. So if I
Yeah.
put,
Okay.
it's good
Are
now.
You
Okay.
should be fine. If I'm in the red, that's more than loud enough.
Yeah. I told you you're quiet.
You can tell me anything.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly. Yeah. See, the thing is, I'm quiet too, so I understand. I go through the same thing.
I'm not a loud explosive talker, okay?
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm more of an explosive laugher.
Yeah, that's true from the Super Bunny Man streams.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge, like loud, like verbose talker, but I laugh pretty loud when I can't
Oh,
stop
yeah.
laughing.
I love it. It's a good laugh. Makes me laugh.
Yes. Yes, Red is good like the Bulls. Thank you, Red.
Like the Bulls? Like Chicago Bulls? Or what Bulls are we talking
The Red Bull.
about?
Oh my gosh. It's okay. I
That
mean,
makes a lot more sense now I'm thinking about it.
he's a Gemini like us, okay? He's gonna say
Oh,
funky
yeah.
things.
All the time. Why do you think I make such good content? Kidding,
Exactly. The funky random content, always. So speaking of your content, Captain Shin Castanova,
Pleasure.
can you please let everyone know? Oh my gosh, why is my notification down there? How dare? But right there. There, that's better. I like that better. How dare it be down there? That was so rude. But tell us about, and thank you for joining the Soul Fam. I was
my
not saying.
pleasure.
But I would like you to tell everyone a little about yourself. You know, where you stream, where they can find you, your lore, all that kind of wonderful things.
I would love to. So, as you know, I am Captain Shin Castanova. Right now, I'm streaming on Twitch. I haven't streamed in a little bit. Working on some big things. I just got my PC fixed. Now it's running 20 times faster. I've got some lore in the works. I can't share too much about you, but I'll give you what I've given everybody. Essentially, I command a rebel gang, which is what they call it, known as Dark Matter. We aim to free the cosmos from the Aether Coalition. This was my old home. It's a tyrannical government that has enslaved galaxies. And it took me hundreds upon thousands of years to realize what they were doing was wrong. And it also took a small trip to Earth. So because of that, I formed the Army of Dark Matter, where I'm assembling anyone who cares enough to stop the horrifying menace that is my old home. We've been working underground. We've been working on the front lines for hundreds of years. And so far, they have not caught us. So I'd like to continue that. If anybody would like to support the cause, Twitch is a good place to find me. Just Shin Castanova. There's an underscore in it right now, but there won't be forever. I also have a Discord. I won't market my Discord, but you can find everything you need to know on my Twitter. Same thing, Shin Castanova, no underscore. I stream a few days a week. It's a little inconsistent right now. Got a lot going on. But once I get into the groove, it'll probably be weekends and then twice a week, so probably 4 to 5 days a week. And my streams will tend to go anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, 8 hours, with some occasional huge 24-hour streams if I'm feeling like it. That's all I got to say about me, though. So I appreciate you asking, and I also would like to say I appreciate you having me on the show. It's great to be here as the first guest.
You're welcome. And I was trying to shout you out. What's wrong with this thing? I forgot the command.
I'm reading Nixie's thing. Nixie wants to know my age. I'm not telling you that.
Do a
Not my
slash.
in-lore age.
Oh, thanks, hon. I appreciate.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. But now I do like the fact that your lore has all that, because it really goes with your chart.
Oh, perfect.
I love
Great. We're already
it.
off to a good start.
I love it.
I want to add something though, because I should mention this for anybody interested in my stuff. I'll have you know I'm an 18 plus YouTuber. I'm not necessarily lewd tuber. I'm on the line, right?
Yeah,
So
I was.
occasionally,
He's
yeah.
towing the line, a naked foot
yeah.
on the line.
Exactly. So I could have, occasionally I'll have like not safe for work content, but most of the time it's just 18 plus content, mature stuff. Not always sexual, but it can get there sometimes. So I just wanted to give a warning, So if you want to drop by, just be prepared, okay? I'm not gonna go lightly on you guys.
Does he getting close to throwing hands? No, we're not doing that, you guys. Stop it. Yeah, they're playing sounds.
Yes, play all of them.
No, don't. No.
Every sound.
No, not
I'll
all
participate.
No, do not. No. No.
Let's see, what do we got? I'll do it later.
I am 18 plus. Wow. No.
Great, that attracts the eyes. Awesome.
Oh my god. I put in a bunch of sound alerts while I was like on break and I was sick, so I figured out like a lot of sound alerts and
Mine
stuff.
just broke.
Really?
My sound alerts broke. They don't work anymore. It's set up fine. It even plays fine in the like off stream, but nothing on stream, so I don't know how that works. I'll figure it out.
Sorry for your loss.
It's okay. It's just like 50% of my content.
It's
fine.
Just 50%. But yeah, but I did want to like, since I did start with how your lore kind of like fits into your chart. Like, okay, so I'm gonna explain it this way. Up at the top of your chart, there's this MC, right? The MC is the midheaven, and that's your public persona. It is what you do, like your career wise, or if you do have like, an online following, it's the kind of energy that your following sees you as. And it's also the kind of energy that is most, how can I put this? It's like the best energy to brand yourself under, because it's like you're in your true like essence when you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And yours is in Aquarius, which interestingly enough, if my words want to come out, that is like a very like unique energy. It's like being like almost like alone in what you do, but also it's like bringing groups together, which I found great, where it's like I am the lone captain, but I'm bringing my groups together.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And then it's also deals with astronomy, astrology, and things of that nature. Quit bonking me, Reyes. But it deals with the stars. So you being literally like of the stars type captain is like right up the branding alley over here.
I'm telling
Like,
you, this is already off to such a good start.
yeah. Making a face at me after making that, like, how dare. But the thing also that's really interesting is, okay, the MCAC, like all those things like that, those are major angles of the chart. And when stuff happens on these angles, which I find really interesting, because usually and I'll explain why yours is actually lined up differently. A lot of times the main angles are in different signs and, like, you know, element modalities. Yours are actually both in air. Your rising and your midheaven are in air, instead of it being split like it'd probably be in water normally. But the reason yours isn't is you have an interception. It's a big word for your chart spread apart, and it's missing some energy that you need to learn from other people.
Interesting.
So, hi VG.
Yo.
And so basically what happens with that is it scoots everything in your chart a little oddly compared to other people. Now, interceptions aren't like extremely rare. I've actually read for a lot of people with interceptions, believe it or not. But the thing that's really cool though is on your main angle, which is your midheaven, you actually have a lot of planets dancing around it, which is what I was saying earlier with why you get really easy visibility when you're trying to do anything internet wise. Because third house, down where you see that little red squiggly by my head right here, that's Leo energy. And you have Jupiter in there in your third house. Jupiter makes everything big in it, just like think of it like a megahorn for like announcing things and making things happen, and it speeds things up. Now, you having it in your third house, that's communication. That can be like, you know, doing things like the Aquarius energy that is your midheaven rules the internet. But having this third house energy down here, it's like communications and doing things with content and writing and creating and all that kind of stuff. So having Jupiter in there, it just makes your content get seen, is pretty much what it is. And you have that on an angle, so it makes it more pronounced where it's like you're at home, because it's on your home angle. That's the fourth house. Having that on your fourth house angle means you're at home in creating the content. It's not like a foreign concept to you. It's like you're really rooted in creating that content.
Oh yeah.
And
I've been doing it long enough. It's home to me at this point.
But it's also something that makes you very happy too, because the thing is, with it being in Leo's the sign of, like, a lot of people see it as the dramatic energy, in which it can be very, very freaking dramatic. That's why a lot of stuff's happening right now. We got quite a few things in Leo. But the thing is, Leo energy is also that of like the thespian, the actor. It's stardom. So having Jupiter there, it's helping you create freaking star bright content over here. And it's making it to where it gets noticed instead of it like getting buried somewhere. So it's almost like you have a natural affinity for creating things that get seen, if you apply yourself.
You know what? That's actually the best way you could have put it. This reminds me of my earliest streaming days. For anybody who doesn't know, okay, this is me after a rebrand. So when I first started streaming, I went under the name Nova Ash. I don't know if any of you remember that, but back then,
Hi, Aya.
hello. So back then, when I first started streaming, I actually noticed I gained like visibility very quickly when I started consistently making content. It was very quick. I got to, I'm not talking numbers, but I got to numbers I was happy with very fast. So, and then as soon as I, took a long break to deal with school, home stuff, then started working on the rebrand, big month break. Now I'm just starting to creep back into it. So once I kind of am able to apply myself again, I am hoping
It will.
that I can have similar results.
You will. And the thing is, you have to realize too, the first time, because I remember Nova, you were still very on brand with star theme. Now, you weren't necessarily on brand with the whole bringing together your coalition, but you were very star themed still, which means that that's why that branding still worked out, because you're still kind of pulling at a piece of the branding that works for you. And it was still like a unique thing. And the thing with like Aquarius energy is it's also very androgynous. So that's like something that's also known for. So it wasn't like something that went against, it still fit a nice little like file in that energy, but it's like you're actually rebranding into something that's a lot closer to the full package of the energy instead. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, which you have a Gemini stellium.
Oh. What does that mean?
It means you got a bunch of stuff in Gemini. It means you have at least 3 things in Gemini.
Well, I mean...
Now, what people don't understand when you don't like know chart reading and stuff like that, when you hear people say like, I'm a Gemini, I'm an Aries, that's talking about sun signs. That's like the sign the sun is in during like those like 30-ish days of like the previous month and then the following month. That's all that people usually talk about when it comes to astrology. And it's such a tiny, tiny little speck because the sun is expression. And it's also your ego that kind of comes up if you're getting butt hurt. But it's like how you retaliate when you're butt hurt. But that's still a form of expression. Now, the thing is, you're going to seem a lot more like a Gemini in person. And the reason this is you have a Gemini rising. The rising is who you are like in like actual physical contact with people. It's not like the midheaven where it's like an persona that people find. Now, not only do you have the rising, but you also have Mercury and Venus and the sun.
Oh, got them all with me. Got a party over here, guys.
They're following you around. You have some in your 12th and some in your first house, but you have all of it in Gemini. So that means when you meet people, you're like this ball of Gemini energy. It's like you said, it is you talking like you were telling me you do talk in person, but at the same time, the reason why, like someone who has a bunch of Gemini and it was in the first house, they would more than likely always get heard. But the reason yours is different is you actually have your Mercury and your Venus in your 12th house, and that's the house of like hidden energies. So it's almost like when you communicate, it's easy for you to get drowned out because it's almost like your communication gets hidden and lost, and it can be very frustrating. And what I find kind of funny is you have these red lines between your Mercury and your Mars. And what this red line is a square. So it causes tension, it causes like this kind of fighting thing where you get like a little frustrated. And Mars energy is literally getting aggressive. So it's almost like sometimes when you're not heard, it can bring out an aggressive side. And you don't know why, because it's coming from a place that's like hidden from you. So it's almost like, why am I getting angry about this?
That's very true, especially because I will tend to get angry if people talk over me in person. On stream, it's different. In person, I will get upset if somebody starts to talk over me. And I have a voice that tends, I was just telling this, I have a voice that tends to blend in with the background. It's not very standoutish, right? It's very, it's more easy on the ears. So it won't be heard as easily.
Yeah, it's not abrasive. So people, that's the whole thing. And Gemini energy is very adaptable and it flows very easy. It's kind of like, so a lot of times people like, you know, the joke with Gemini energy is they're like bipolar, which no, that's more Libra energy. I'm sorry, but they're bipolar or two-faced or whatever. The thing with Gemini energy is just that Gemini energy adapts to situations very easily. Like they're still themselves. It's just they know like, okay, if I want to create an upset, I know how I need to act. If I want things to go smoothly, I know how I need to act. It's pretty much like that kind of thing. It's not like a two-faced thing. It's just like, I know my environment, I fill it out, I adapt to it. It's literally what Gemini energy is. Now, the thing is, since you have stuff that flares up when your Gemini energy is ignored in person, it's almost like people won't expect that. But the thing is, your Mars is still, it's what some people would call, what the, oh my god, that did startle me. That sound did startle me.
Nice job, guys. Woo-hoo. We're winning.
Oh my god. Oh, hi Ninja. So what I'm doing is I'm reading his star chart, and it tells a lot about a person. And the star chart's this thingy behind me right here. So basically, what I'm currently talking about is this stuff right here to the side of my head right here, this little yellow symbol. This is all of his Gemini stuff that I'm talking about right now. Yeah, you did scare me. And then so basically that's kind of what I'm talking about right now, but all of this chart like is basically like his birth blueprint. So it gives all about like, you know, his upbringing, his family, his personality, how he's visible, like what works best for him to make things, you know, what works against him, which I do gotta say, relationship wise, you do like a little bit of a challenge.
Is my girlfriend here? Are you here? You?
I mean, it's like you will get bored if someone is not a challenge. Like
A challenge, huh?
yes, because the thing is, you have Pluto in your 7th house. I like how Vine Boom Aya nice, but but you get with Pluto there, it's almost like you want someone that teaches you how to grow. Like if you're not growing with somebody, you get bored. If it's not someone that can keep you almost like entertained, especially with all that Gemini energy, you're gonna get bored. So like if someone's not always changing, not always evolving, you're gonna be like, man, this person got really freaking boring. So it's almost like watching someone grow through like pain, happiness, whatever it is very intriguing to you. And if you have a partner that's constantly doing that, then that's what really keeps you interested in somebody. Now, if you find someone that's just like, you know, I'm content where I am, I don't need to do anything, you get bored with that very fast.
That's actually a great point, actually, because there's a very specific thing about that exactly. So I have to word it differently. So when people are growing, the reason I like seeing them grow, and this is perfect for the lovely, beautiful woman I'm with, I like seeing them grow because I like seeing them improve themselves. I like them being the best person that they can be. I don't need them to always be doing something to, you know, be better in the grand scheme, but I like when they take care of themselves. I like when they have their own goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody doesn't have goals, if somebody doesn't work on themselves, they don't take care of themselves, that's unattractive. So
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see where that's coming from.
Yes. That's why I was saying, like, compare, like, you have that same placement with Light, but hers is a little different. Because
Oh, yes,
hers,
this is the different part.
yeah, this is the different part. Because hers degrees matter. Like, these little numbers, besides all these symbols, they matter. Yours is an 18. Hers is a 22. A 22 is known as the kill or be killed degree. Now, that means it is like all or nothing, all like it's pretty much like it's the end all be all. Like if that ain't gonna happen, it's like no patience there. That's why with hers it's a lot like stronger. And plus, like she has it connecting to a lot of things that are different. But even though you guys have the same kind of placement where it's like in the same house, it's the same planet, it's going to play out differently because of that. Now, yours is also in Sagittarius, your Pluto. Having it in Sagittarius, like you said, it's always going to be the person, like, are they growing on a personal level? It's like, to you, it doesn't really matter how it compares to the world because you're looking at them. Like, I'm in a relationship with you, not with the world. It's pretty much the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's one thing if like, they compare and they're like, I want to do this better because I like this, compared to something else. But if they become obsessive with outside things and that's the only reason why, it's not because they're, doing it for themselves, that's also a turnoff.
Exactly.
So someone can be learning and growing, but there's also the reason behind that they're learning and growing is important to you as well. It's not like if someone's just always constantly evolving, it's not like going to be the be all end all for you. There has to be substance as to why they're doing it.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. I'm probably one of the most, and I'm proud of it, one of the most loyal people you'll ever meet on this planet. When I'm with somebody, I have dedicated myself to them. So that's why I don't care so much about the world around them. I care about how they're doing, how they're feeling, what their goals, what their improvements are. It's all guided towards them. Because when I am in a relationship and when I am committed to somebody, my thoughts for the outside world will be completely separate.
Yeah. And one thing too, because a lot of times when people see Gemini energy, they're like, Gemini energy is fickle and it doesn't stay committed. The only reason it will not stay committed is if you bore the living hell out of it. It will just be done because you're not doing anything to enrich the Gemini's life. And that's the main energy of Gemini is enrichment and learning. Like, enrich my life, help me learn, help me become something different by just being around you. Yes, beautiful. If you're stifling me and I can't even learn on my own when I'm with you, bye. Like, there's like a huge disconnect that starts happening because the reason that Gemini seems fickle is because Gemini falls in love with the mind. And if they love your mind, they're not going anywhere because it's too intriguing. So that's, and you having your Venus and your Mercury in the 12th house, which is the house of the subconscious, is almost like you naturally gravitate there. And it would not surprise me if you spookily like scared your girlfriend sometimes with telepathic thinking. Whereas you just kind of pick up on what's going on and she's like, what the actual hell?
Yeah, that's about right. I can read their mind all the time.
And it's not like you're trying to. But low key true. Yeah, see, Keo. That is pretty much what happens.
See?
Now, the one thing that's I want to point out is you have some placements that kind of lend to a little bit of like pain struggle when it comes to, like, I'm not going to talk about financial standing, but it's like your feelings around it. Because you have your North Node in Taurus, but you have your Chiron in Capricorn. Now, North Node in Taurus is basically like, this is what you feel pulled towards. It's what you feel like you need to do in order to like have purpose and be happy with your life. And Taurus is all about stability. It's all about having the comforts and knowing things are going to be provided for, things are going to be okay, but it's also about your values being upheld. Now, you're subconsciously, because that's also in your 12th house, being pulled towards that, even if you're not thinking about it. You can be pulled towards it in your sleep. But you also have this large wound, since you have Chiron and Capricorn, around everything you do and what work you put into things, your efforts not being enough ever. So it's almost like you're in this struggle of like, I need to be comfortable and stable and know that I'm heard on what's important to me, but also feeling like no matter what I do, it is never going to be enough. And this is like an internal struggle you battle between, because whenever you're pulled towards what would make you happiest, that wound comes up.
Well, I definitely agree with that. And there's a very specific event or series of events in my life that exactly comes from. I don't know if I should be talking about it. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it.
You could talk about whatever you want here. It's completely up to you.
I'm just want to make sure, because it has some themes that might make some people uncomfortable, not in a sexual way, but in a,
have you heard some of my stories? I don't think my stuff makes people comfortable.
I'm just making sure, because this is the first time. I want to make sure people are cool with it.
You're fine.
Right. So I had years ago. This was in high school. So years ago. Um, I had someone who I was with in a relationship. It was a girlfriend, and things would always start off great, as all relationships do. Over time, um, I'm not gonna put it lightly. She shifted into a terrible person, manipulative, abusive, physically and emotionally.
Mm.
Um, it was the worst period of my life by such a large amount. They were never pleased. I would always have to spend my time making up for something that I did that wasn't
Mm.
wrong in the first place. It was a terrible spot to be in.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why that's on there, right? Because I've got this looming past, right? Of no matter what I did, it ended up getting worse or I did something wrong.
Mm.
So it's kind of led to now where I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but I don't like things being mediocre from me. And
Mm.
I don't like half-assing shit, right? I always have to make sure it's great.
Yeah. And even the thing is, when you have like, everyone has a Chiron wound, but it's in a different energy. Now, having it in Capricorn energy is almost like whatever you do, you're always going to be able to find something that wasn't up to par, even if it's freaking amazing. Like, you're still going to
Yep.
be able to look at it and be like, well, didn't do that. So,
Yep.
you know, that it's like, that's why the wound just kind of follows you. Like, mine is in Cancer, so it's more of like a deep emotional wound
Mhm.
that came from my mother, because Cancer is the mom, Capricorn's the dad. So a lot of times some of the things can trickle over from how the father speaks things into existence too, or just an inferiority of you'll never be like your father. So there's like kind of plays that come from the Capricorn energy as well with that theme. And also wounds around restrictions and things you weren't allowed to do or allowed to accomplish too as well. So like it's always going to be different depending on what wound you have, but if you're actively working on things and healing through things and you know like what the crux is you have to deal with, then it's like when it crops up it won't take over your life basically, because it can be
Mhm.
very debilitating, since you know if it pops up and then like say this wasn't something you worked on, right? And you're just always trying to make stuff but you never put stuff out because it's never good enough, that would stop all this good stuff you have in your chart from being seen, because you have that wound and it's in the 8th house, so it's like your investments. So it's like what you're investing your time into can easily turn into like you invest your time into doing things and it's not good enough, so you just don't put it out for the world to see.
That's greatly aligned with um my artistic talents, right? I'm certain most people who meet me would never know I make art. I'm going to school for digital art and
Mm,
design, but I never put it out unless I'm working on it for 5,000 years or it's like a little funny thing for a friend. Like I made Nixie's
mm.
Kermit PNG. It was fucking hilarious. Um,
See, the thing,
but yeah,
that's the thing, is comedy, because Leo is comedy. That's what helps you bring out a lot of your stuff, is if you're able to have fun or have some kind of comedy with it, it lets you let go of those strings.
exactly. Because if you can laugh at it, why does it matter how good it is, right? Because it's funny.
Hello, Medea. Um, One thing though that I do want to point out, you know how I was talking about your midheaven earlier,
Hmm.
and how you have a bunch of stuff like floating around it.
Oh yes, my astral projections
All
floating around.
yes. So the thing is, you have some stuff in your 9th house that's floating like along the back side of it, kind of pushing it forward, right? And these things are actually very like dreamlike because it's Neptune and the moon. Neptune goes with 12th house energies. It's the subconscious. It's also escapism. So a lot of times it's almost like your escapism and your imagination can really push what you're putting out into the public actually out there. Now, that also kind of comes in tandem with your moon, because the moon is like your inner self that you don't really share with people. It's your emotions. It's like kind of like 12th house, where 12th house is secrets, but it's more of like your personal self. Like people that get close to you do get to see this person if you allow some of it out, because you know Aquarius can be kind of enigmatic. It might not show the full range of emotions most of the time. It's probably easier to show the more like masculine emotions of anger or just being stoic. But when you get close to somebody, you can allow yourself to break down and be vulnerable, but it's going to take time because you're so used to having that structure up around your emotions.
Well, yeah, sure, of course. I am people who know me well know I am a really big softie in person, right?
Mm,
Of course, I have a normal, regular attitude of being stoic, being the big guy, the big protector and provider. That's just how I work. But if we're in a situation where that's not needed, and I know you and I trust you, you will always find me to be more vulnerable, more soft, just overall more comforting than rough. That's just how I like to be around people because it makes them feel good, and if I trust them enough, I would love to make them feel good all the time.
all the time.
All the time. I like making people feel good.
Well, that's also the humanitarian aspect that comes with an Aquarius moon, is just making people happy.
It's the entire reason I started streaming in the first place because it makes people happy.
But you also have, on the flip side over there, in the 10th house, which is like, you know, the public, the career and stuff, you have Mars and Neptune. But both of them are in Pisces. And Pisces is this 12th house energy, which you have a lot of 11th and 12th house themes just in your chart over and over, even though you have nothing in your 11th house. They're just
Yeah.
pulled all over
They're
your
just
chart.
there, yeah.
And it's like, we skipped that house just because it's
Caught in the
everywhere
crossfire.
else. But having Mars and Neptune up there, I already talked a little bit about Mars earlier. It's your aggression, it's how you go after things, it's your motivation. Having it in Pisces can be frustrating because sometimes your motivation is very fleeting and it's like, what the actual F? Because you're having to swim to find it, and it's like, if I'm doing all this effort just to find the motivation, when am I going to be able to use it to do anything? I'll be too freaking tired.
Oh yeah. I get my most motivation at like 2 in the morning.
Mm.
Always. I will always get super inspired 2 in the morning. I want to go do something, and I do it. I also go to the gym regularly, 5 to 6 days a week. So I know a lot about motivation, and when you don't have it, it sucks because you can't go, but you
Mm.
gotta go. Right? Because I'm working to be a bodybuilder, right? I'm a decently big guy.
Mm.
So you have to have insane motivation because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of eating. It takes a lot of going to the gym, like which is already a like 20-minute drive, plus like an hour and a half to 2 hour workout. It's a lot. So when you don't have it,
You're just
and then you get
dredging.
it exactly, you just you feel awful. I tend to feel awful about myself if I have to miss a couple days at the gym for work or just like maybe I'm sick or whatever. I feel
Mm.
so bad. It makes me feel terrible, right? But then I get the motivation at 2 in the morning. But I can't go at 2 in the morning. It's closed.
You need a 24-hour.
I do. I might look into getting one just for that.
So you can go at 2 a.m. when
Right.
you randomly get the energy to do it.
Exactly. I go to like my gym. I go to a Gold's gym, which is very, especially in my area. It's very like it's a very serious gym. Most people, not all, but most people who go there are giant dudes. So
Oh my God.
it's not open until like 5 in the morning. It's open until it actually closes at 10. And then on weekends, it closes at 5. It's crazy.
You better be dedicated really early in the morning, but not too early. Not 2
No,
a.m. early.
I go at 8 at night. I go until from 8 to close because I'm not waking up early. You kidding me?
And like one thing I want to say, like, okay, you can have nothing in a house, right? Like how your fourth, fifth, sixth, you know, certain houses have nothing in it. They
Hmm.
still carry a lot of energy and they still tell stories. Because the thing, like, I was really giggling a lot with how you were describing your gym activities because your sixth house is ruled by Scorpio. Very obsessive energy. The way you're so obsessed with your routine.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
like, it's very different for a lot of people. Because, like, some people like say they have more Piscean or even Sagittarian sixth house energies. Routine is like, no, I hate it. I can't do this. You having Scorpio energy there is like, I need my routine or I'm going to get angry. It's just gonna boil over because you have so much pent up energy, and the way you work out a lot of your emotions is your routines. That's why you have them in the first place, is so that you can regulate yourself.
I mean, I have obsession with certain routines. The gym is one of them. Um, so I can go pretty much almost all the day, just kind of winging it, doing whatever, right? And
Mm.
I don't necessarily like things to be. I'm doing this at this time, this at this time, unless it's the gym. So if I go, yeah, that's the one thing I obsess over, right? So if I go a whole day without doing anything, that's a waste of a day, right? I don't always have to
Mm.
be doing something, but I at least have to do like one thing. Unless it's like a deload day where I'm just kind of, tired,
You
lazy,
need to
whatever.
rest.
Yeah, it's a rest day. But other than that, I have to do something.
But you hear
Just
even saying that is still kind of planned because you're like, unless it's this type of day.
yeah, unless it's exactly. See, so I have a system, and I have to stick to that. I don't like when it's thrown off, right? This is great because I hate. This is one of the things I have the most anger with is when somebody will make a plan for me that I can't get out of, like last minute. I need to know very far ahead of time because if I'm just like relaxing, like it's my day off from work, it's my rest day. Just relaxing, and then somebody tells me, "Hey, we got to go to do this thing." I'm gonna get angry. Like you should have told me this a week and a half ago, please.
See, it's so funny though, because, if people didn't really know, right? And they were just basing things off you being a Gemini. Supposedly, Gemini is supposed to be like really great with, adapting, spontaneity, all that kind of like crazy stuff. But the thing is, you could tell just by looking at your sixth house, it's like spontaneity is great if it's planned.
Exactly, plans, spontaneous. This is perfect.
This planned craziness is perfect, but do not come at me with no plan and just like, let's go do it. Would drive you insane.
Oh yeah.
And then you'd be upset the whole time.
Yep. I mean, I'm moving. Like I'm getting into an apartment, like a new apartment in
Mm,
August, so in a month, right? And
mm.
there's a lot of planning that has to go
Oh
into
my
that.
god, yes.
So I
Moving is
can't.
like,
It's
no.
a, it's a lot. So I'm working right now with Kiyu on it with my
Mm.
girlfriend, and they're not as much of a planner as I am,
Oh, of course. That's how
right?
you grow as a person. You get with somebody
Ex-
that's not like you.
Yeah, exactly. They don't, right? So I'm sitting here, I've got all this thing planned out. We got to do this before we move. We got to have this done. There's a little checklist, and they're they're over there like they're just waiting,
They're
right? And I have
winging
to
it.
tell them,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yep,
no, no,
I
we
got to
can't
tell them
wing
what,
this.
yep, I got to tell them what we got to have done. Like I'm all for winging it, but we got to be prepared while we wing it. You know what I mean?
I'm prepared winging it.
Yeah. See, look at.
That's exactly what I
Right.
was
Okay,
saying.
so we went on a little trip just to kind of look at the apartment. Just kind of, we were just in the area for like a few days.
Hmm.
This was maybe, I think it was last month or something. And I asked them, hey, can you make a list of what we're gonna do on this little trip, right? Of what we're gonna do each day, like if we're gonna get dinner, if we're gonna go like furniture shopping, whatever. I asked them to do that. And like, oh, sure, I'll do it. Um, we get there. We get to the place in the apartment. I say, "Hey, did you have that list?" And they forgot. And we ended up with nothing. Oh dear, are you okay? Your stream is frozen.
Is it?
There it goes. No, we're good. I can
Oh
hear
my
you now.
god.
Your stream's frozen, but I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you for a second.
What happened? Is
I don't
everyone
know.
there?
Maybe,
Is everything okay?
maybe I'm gonna let it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
there we go. We're good.
We're good? We're good?
Yep. Yep. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
So,
know how much that got cut out.
I don't know how
Whatever.
much got cut out, but it does make me laugh, and honestly, it's making me very curious about your girlfriend's chart.
How about their what?
About their chart. It's making
Oh
me
yeah,
very curious because
you
I
should
feel
have
like
them on.
I feel like she might have some Sagittarius stuff. Just with how she's like, or either that or more Pisces things, to where she's more daydreamy.
Yep. They are very daydreamy. We'll find out when we get them on the show.
Oh, you're gonna grab them like, I'm gonna see yours now. Just
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
gonna
can
prove to you all these things I'm saying about you are right.
But then
I
again,
know
she
you
could
better
probably
than you know yourself.
she could probably watch this and be like, "See, I told you."
Well, that they know just about. I'm pretty honest with how I am as a person. So if there's anything I didn't know on here, then they would probably call me out for it. But so far, everything that's been said, I can understand.
I can understand. Oh my goodness. But oh yeah, the other thing I was gonna say. You up there with your Mars, you know, your ambitions and stuff. You also have Uranus, which is like all about like surprise. Now, unlike Jupiter, Jupiter is like some good surprises, expansion, you know, brings you to good things. Uranus is like the leveler of the playing field. It will strike lightning and
The
just
great equalizer.
it does not give a shit.
Awesome.
It's like if it's good, bad, happy, sad, it does not matter. Random things will happen. That's pretty much the name of the game for Uranus.
Yeah.
So you have it at a lucky degree, by the way, it's at 2. Like it's a 2 for some reason, and degrees tends to bring luck. Now, which might be why you have some lucky strokes of random luck as opposed to the equalizers that suck.
Oh my. Okay. May I give an example?
Sure.
So there's gonna be nobody who knows what I'm talking about except for Q, because I was telling him. So so I play a mobile game, right? It's called Dragon Ball Legends. It's a gacha game. It's awesome.
Gotcha.
So it's a gacha game. So yesterday they well, was it? No, it was this morning at 2 a.m, because that's when they changed the dates. There's a whole new it's the 5th anniversary, so it was a huge like new character that just got brought out. Insanely hard to pull. 0.35% chance of pulling, and there's no pity system. It's not Genshin. 0 pity system. So realistically, you're only gonna get, like, if you save up for a long time, you're only gonna get him like once or twice maybe. I got him 5 times, which I think was pretty lucky, and that is like a less than 10% chance of happening. So I think that was like I used up my luck for my entire life. So
no, you didn't. You have a lot more than that, honestly.
Great.
You got a lot more than that, but that's just what I mean by like Saturn being an equalizer. See how it does that for you up there, like, you know. And the thing is, like, it's doing something that's kind of tied to your career, which is gaming. So it like makes sense. It's gonna throw energy that way. My Uranus is in my 6th house, and it's an asshole. It's the one that gives me, because Uranus also rules like weird, random shit, unique shit, rare shit. Now you put that in the health house.
Oh no, you're a full box of surprises.
Yes, that's literally what it did to me. It gave me a health house of unique and rare illnesses.
You're like a slot machine of the hospital.
Pretty much. I got the rare ones that they didn't even know existed.
You're gonna get one named after you one of these days.
Oh, don't even. I don't want it. I don't want anymore. I'm done. Leave me alone. This thing is so mean. That's what I mean, though. But at the same time, each of the illnesses that came up brought me something in my life that I needed. So it's almost like I don't know. It's like,
Give some, take some kind of thing.
yeah, it's almost like, if I wouldn't have got the thing that happened to me in 2020, I would still be in a horrible relationship because I wouldn't have had the rose-colored glasses fall off and break and realize just how bad they were treating me.
Wow.
So, yeah, I had to go through losing everything with my health going downhill for me to realize how bad they were treating me. So, like, that's what I mean. It's like it brings in stuff, it equalizes everything, and it opens your eyes to stuff. Like, it can give you some luck, obviously, but also the things it'll bring you is like it wouldn't surprise me, since yours is in Pisces and that's subconscious, if a lot of your great ideas either come to you in like dreams or just like daydreaming type thing, where you're just like struck with a really great idea and you're like, that's what I'm doing. It's like that kind of energy is what it lends to, because that's what Pisces rules. But also, I do not condone this. It's Pisces, since it is the sign of escapism, does rule like things like substance use. Now, that would also mean that possibly, I'm not saying go do it, don't you dare say I said go do this, since you have the placement that you could get random ideas while doing substance use. I do not encourage that.
Now listen here, my father is in law enforcement, so that's not happening. And I don't even want it to happen. I was raised right, okay?
Yes.
So the only thing I've ever, am I allowed to talk about that too, or is that like
that's fine.
TOS thing?
Go
okay.
ahead.
So I've done weed one time just to know what it was like. That's it. And I don't plan on ever doing it again, or anything, or really much alcohol either. I've had some alcohol, but like I'm not a drinker. So yeah, I mean, the one time I did it, there's a bunch of shit going on in my brain. I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure I'm still feeling it to this day. I don't plan on taking advantage of that any point further.
That's why I was saying no, I don't want you to, because the reason I also would like advise against it with you is like, yeah, it might bring you stuff, but it's also gonna bring, like, it has the square. Oh my god, that thing does startle me, that freaking sound. Does startle me. But the tension, you have the square going between that planet and your Mercury and your Venus. So it's like doing those type of things in order to like get ideas will bring a lot of tension, a lot of fighting and certain things between, like, how you learn things, because Mercury is not only communication, it's also how you learn, as well as your relationships. So it's like, it might be like, it's like those people that do the get rich quick schemes. It's like, it might accelerate something, but it's gonna burn other things. So it's not really something I would just be like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Some people might have charts where it's like, yeah, go ahead, that's great for you, but no, I wouldn't advise it. And it would definitely kill your ambition, because it's like, once you go down that way, it's pretty much like, oh, this is a lot easier to do this than to try to like get the motivation otherwise. So it would kill a lot more than it would help. Now,
sure it would.
The thing that I haven't brought up yet is the dad energy.
The dad energy?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to elaborate, honey.
Yeah. Because like how you brought it up with the law enforcement, Saturn, which is in your first house over here with your son, is the father. Saturn represents the father. Now, having it in your first house means that your dad has been, since you were born, because the houses kind of go through life, he has been a very prominent figure over you since very young. Like his rules, the things he's taught you, things like that, very present in your life with that since the beginning.
Oh yeah. Okay. There's a lot I have to talk about this, so forgive me if I rant. Starting off with something recent. So everyone, do you guys know on TikTok the trend going around with the old age filter?
Oh Lord.
So I tried that, and I didn't really look like super recognizable to any of my family members, but as soon as I made a certain face, I looked just like my dad, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I don't actually. I don't actually look like him now, but with the filter and with the face I made, it was crazy. It was like a transformation. So
um
that's just the physical aspect.
well,
You were gonna
first
say
house
something?
is physical attributes as well. It's not just how you come off to people, it's also physical attributes, and
Right.
having your dad in your first house
Hmm.
saying you look like him.
Yeah, I mean, in my whole family, everyone in my family always tells me I act a lot like my dad.
Oh
We're
my
very
god.
in person. We're very, speak softly, carry big stick kind of guy,
Very big
right?
stick.
Yeah, you never heard that?
I have heard of it. It's just I
Yeah,
haven't heard someone say it in a while.
yeah. Yeah. Taking a trip to the past. So we're very reserved people, but we're
Mm,
very, very tough people, right?
yes.
We are prepared to do things to protect people and ourselves. One of the lessons that it was in a sort of comedic way, but also serious, is, when I was younger, he would tell me, hey, don't start fights, but if you get in one, make sure you win,
Mm,
and I'll be proud of you. That kind of energy, just be careful, be be reserved, but be
mm,
ready.
yeah.
Be strong and be tough. That's how I grew up to be. I'm very, especially around my family. I'm very quiet around my family as opposed to like friends. I'm
Mm,
much more quiet around the family, and I think I get that from him because we tend to be quiet, but we also can be kind of funny, and we could be very, just strong and tough. And I think that's just how I
mm,
was raised.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing I want to say too. The one thing that a lot of people tend to say, like astrology community wise, is like a lot of times you're not gonna come off as your sun sign, you know,
Hmm.
unless your sun in the first house, which is you. Because, it's like your sun, your expression is literally what you come off as. So you're gonna have a lot of that. But you also have Mars interacting with a lot of your stuff. So like you said, you have a lot of that like hidden aggression, like I talked about in the very beginning. But at the same time, it doesn't come out unless it's needed. Like say like because your Mars being Pisces, it's more subdued. But like okay, look. A lot of people don't know this about me because I am very reserved, but my Mars is in Aries and I can get very fiery and very angry. It's like but it's like something has to like really trigger it for me because I have a lot of patience.
Hmm.
So it's almost like if that happens, you deserve it. And
Oh yeah.
usually the things that make that come out is like it's less me and more like going after someone I care about.
Hmm.
That like makes it like fly out and like just be like I could be crying about how you're treating me, but then you do something to someone I care about and the crying stops and I'm just like what the fuck.
Oh yeah.
And it just like goes unhinged and it's
Hmm.
like wait you were just it's like no you picked the wrong thing to start talking about just now.
Oh yeah.
but
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see that actually.
but it's like a fire turns on and that's like
Hmm.
the difference with because Pisces is very like watery. It's like it can be subdued for longer except for what the trigger is with it that'll bring it out. But like with the fire it's like instantaneous and it's like
Right. It's more sporadic, right?
yeah very sporadic instantaneous. And but a lot of other people that have the same placement as me don't have other placements that make them patient. So they just
Mm.
burst into flame all the
Oh
time.
yeah. They got short tempers.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they have their moon in Aries too. So it's
Right,
like
right.
emotionally they're explosive on top of being like impatient with how they want to be
Oh
explosive.
boy. Ticking
Yeah.
time bomb.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
That's
even
kind
a
of fun though.
ticking one. It's like you
Just
see
it's just
them.
a bomb.
It's like you
It's
just you just look at them wrong and it's boom. It's like that's those kind of people.
yeah. I mean it takes I also have a lot of patience. It's very
Hmm.
hard to make me angry, but there are very specific things that will make me angry.
Yeah, like the talking
Um
over you in person.
Yeah, my biggest pet peeve, which is like this is more of like a, it's not as crazy, but it's people chewing loudly and making eating noises. That will, for whatever reason, it will, whenever I hear it and it's loud enough, it will make me angry, like legitimately angry. I don't like outburst because of it, but I will feel anger and like hatred for this action.
Well, you see, that's the difference. If it was a fire one, you would just fly off the handle like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no.
But
To myself, I will think, shut the fuck up, but I won't tell them that.
that's the main difference between it being a little more like watery than being like completely explosive. Which, you know, different is needed for different things, obviously. I'm kind of glad that I don't straight out explode on people, and I was literally patted down with tons and tons of placements that make me very patient. But at the same time, it's there when it's needed. And a lot of people don't see it, and if you see it, you deserve it. And that's how I look at it. Because you pushed me there. Don't push me there. So you have to honestly be trying really freaking hard to push me there.
I mean, this is great because Kia, while you're here, so they're, I'm not gonna give too much detail, but they're a small person, right? They're teeny tiny.
Aw,
And
me too.
compared to them, I'm huge. So then I'm in a go because I work out regularly. I'm a strong guy, and they want me to. They've always wanted
Eat.
to.
Eat them.
Yeah, well, that they want me to do things with my full strength, and especially I'll keep it low in the bedroom. And I tell you, they cannot handle it. I tell them every time it's not gonna work. The one time I tried it. Okay, am I cool for bedroom talk?
Oh, that's fine.
Cool. So the one time I tried it, I did it for 15 seconds. Really went like 90%. And they almost passed out. Yeah, and they got bruised because I won't give too much, but the way they were positioned, we were in a car. So they got bruised from the belt buckle, right? And they started getting lightheaded. They started having difficulty breathing. They had to take like 20 minutes just to breathe, calm down.
Yeah, we need to go sit outside in the air.
Yeah, I needed to, I always require a lot of, they need a lot of aftercare when I'm done with them, right? And I'm telling them, you can't do this for a full, like, because it can go for hours, right? You can't do that. I would probably kill you. And they're like, no, I can do it. I can do it. I'm tough.
God.
I'm sorry. You can't. Listen, I weigh almost twice you do.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta kind of actually put the things of like physics and gravity and weight into play.
Exactly.
It's not about ability, it's just about like science and math.
Like, yeah, I'm sure you're tough, but the human body can only take so much at your size.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like a bad thing. You have strengths in other ways. That's
Exactly.
like, we all get evened out in some way. Obviously, mine was my height. It just got taken from me. It's fine.
How tall are you?
I'm 5 foot.
You're just 5 foot?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Kiyu's shorter, so that's okay. They're 4'10".
Wow.
Yeah, they're itty bitty.
Way shorter than me. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm over. Oh, yeah, they're they're tiny.
I'm a guarded gnome.
It works. You're not a guarded gnome, but it works for you. I think it fits you well. I don't think I could imagine you taller. I don't think that would look great.
No. Yeah, I'm average. I'm taller than Desi.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think height's overrated. I've been saying this for
height's overrated.
Height is so overrated. Being short must be awesome. Like, I mean, it doesn't feel awesome while you're in it. I'm sure
it doesn't feel awesome when you have to climb on counters to reach things.
No, that's why you have a partner or a friend or whatever who's taller. But It's so it just sounds so nice. I know it's a grass is greener thing, but man, people overrate heights so much. I don't understand it.
I mean, yeah, I don't hit my head on things when I'm walking under them. I guess that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, hide and seek does work too. I can hide in plain sight. It's pretty funny.
that's awesome.
But yeah. Okay. So, one thing I have talked about. Now, what's really interesting is a lot of times, because, I talked about the dad and how that is Saturn in the chart. Because, like, when you're the child of parents, obviously, it shows up your home life and stuff. It shows up your parents in your chart more than, say, like, if you were a parent and you're like, what kids am I going to have? You're not going to see as much in your chart. Like, you might be able to see, like, having children and whatnot, but you're not going to see much about your kids as you do, like, looking at the actual child's chart to the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with you having Aquarius moon, because moon is the mom, it's almost like, even though your dad was like very, very like present from like a very early age with, how he like raised with the quiet iron fist, your mom's sign is Aquarius. Not her sign is not Aquarius. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that your moon is Aquarius. So it gives Aquarius energy to how you interacted with your mom, which means that compared to your dad, your mom probably is more eccentric or has more tastes that are like less traditional than your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he seems like, because your Saturn is in Cancer, which means that the father figure was, even though he is the restrictor, the one with the rules, he was more of a nurturing father, being present and doing that stuff. So even though like he might have been stoic and a little withheld, he was there for you. Like he was like the provider.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Now, like with the mom, she's over here in the ninth house. She's more like, the ninth house is more of like religion, of school, of things like that. So she was more present in.
Did you say of school?
Yes.
She's a teacher.
Yeah. So
That's
having her there is more like her interests are going to be more aligned with like your education, your belief system, how you learn things like that. It's like that's where she shows up a lot in your life, is those things. Which, when you're younger, that's not going to show up as much as needing like, the stern hand that's there with you, like the father. It's going to be like when you start developing and you're like learning your own values and stuff, she's coming in and being like, talk to me. Like,
yeah.
and sometimes you're not wanting to talk because it's like, I don't want to emote that to you, mom.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, listen, she's been a teacher, right, for a long time. An English teacher mostly, right? So I picked up a lot of the educational skills from her because I've already got one foot in the school aspect on both ends, right? I know the faculty, I know the student part. So something I learned was, well, first I was a great student back in like high school, middle school, whatever. Straight A student. I went through high school with a 97 average. And one of the biggest things about that comes from my mom, and that was my writing ability. I don't like writing essays, but I can write damn good essays.
Same.
Every teacher I've ever been with will always compliment my writing. Even in my first college like class that required writing, I got recommended for the honors program based off of one essay alone.
Yeah, I made my teacher cry.
Yeah. Perfect. Great.
That was always my goal when I would write stuff. I was like, I know I can write, but can I make them cry? It's like
that's the way to think about it. You got to think about how they're feeling. But yeah, I mean, I'm more, I'm less sherry with my feelings with my mother than I am with my dad. Just because I have a deeper connection with my dad that is emotional because we're so similar. And like you said, my mom will come up to me and she'll want me to talk. She'll want me to tell my feelings. She'll want me to say a lot of things, and I just don't want to talk that much.
Yeah.
So it can just kind of get like
It can feel
just
very strange.
it can, and it can you tend to get thoughts like, "Thank you, but please leave me alone," because
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do my own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She really seems more along like she wants to know like the dreams and aspirations and stuff like that. She wants to know your goals and what you're aiming for and how you believe and things like
Hmm.
that. But at the same time, it's like some of those things are very personal to you because it's how you grow. So you
Right,
have, it's not like you're just listing off a list of like, I want to do these things. It's like you have emotions attached to them.
right, right.
So it's like if you talk about those, you're going to start feeling the emotions. And it's like, I feel like an odd distance. It's almost like you have the relationship of like an alien trying to talk to you and understand your emotions with your mom. And you're just kind of like, you're not going to get me. It's just, I'm sorry, I love you, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's like the more mature version of the emo "you don't understand me" kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a more reserved one where you're not like die panning the desk because you're
You
more
said exit
reserved.
out. I will pull up my transcripts. I was a great student. I will show you my like graded essays. I'll have you read them.
Exactly. For real. I understand. Like I know there was like when I was in high school, I never tried to go into contest because my home life was not great. So I didn't really try to stand out. Like I was just like naturally a really good student and I slept in class.
Oh
But
yeah.
then teachers would put me into contests. Wouldn't even get my parents' signature because I think some of them knew that my home life wasn't great. So they would
Oh
just
no.
like skip the whole parental like okay to do it, and I would just be going on trips to places and doing contests,
That's super funny.
and I'm just like, why am I doing this?
That's insane.
Hello, Lee.
Hi. Um, I had something. That's just so funny though. You just ended up going on all these
I
trips. You had
did, and
no idea.
I would place in these things too, not even knowing that I was going to be going to them. Like there were
Yeah.
some students that were like preparing for these things for months,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
didn't know about them, and I'm just like, a teacher's like, "Oh, tomorrow you're coming with us," and I was like, "What?"
Oh, that would make me so angry, but like, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, it's you don't. That's super funny though. I had something like I never went to competition. I mean, I entered in some things by myself, but I
No.
also just like I was one of those people who never studied for tests, but did so well with them.
Yeah,
Just because
exactly.
I was just such a good test taker. Like I would finish like
Mm.
at half an hour before everyone else, and I get like
And go
90s.
back and
Like
take a
it's
nap.
yeah, I wouldn't like so check your answers. No, I
No.
don't check my answers. I know I was
I
either
know I'm
right or
done.
wrong the first time. If I didn't know it then, I'm not gonna know it now. So
Like,
I'm fine.
I did the same. It's like there was some teachers I had that would not let me turn it in unless they saw me look. So I'd go back and stare at it and give it. I'm like, here, look,
Hmm.
I didn't change anything. Take it. And it was like
Yeah.
perfect anyways. It's just,
Yeah. Like
it's
I
like,
would
why
go
did
up.
you make me waste my time? I could have took a nap.
I know. I I would go up and just turn in my test, like if it was a paper test, and be like, are you sure?"
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
oh
Are you
yeah,
sure
I'm
you're done? It's
sure.
only been like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anyone remember those like in elementary school?
Mm.
Those like multiplication, addition, subtraction sheets that had like 100
Uh,
questions on them. You flip them
yeah.
over and do it. Yeah, so we would get timed on those, and if you did them under a certain amount of time, like
You get
like
prizes.
you would get a free homework pass.
Oh, well,
So
I had more
and
than just free homework. I got
yeah,
there
we
was
only had the free homework
prizes.
pass. We didn't get prizes for that, but we and I'm pretty sure I'm part of the reason why we didn't get more than that
Oh
because,
my god.
because I would have half the sheet done before they even finished talking about it.
Yeah, you could turn over and just start it while they're still talking.
Exactly, and then I did it in so I had like 50 homework passes accumulated. I
Hell
never
yeah.
used them because I
Because
don't
you
know, I
did your
never needed.
homework.
I know, yeah, I don't like doing homework, and then once I got to be like a
Oh, thank
senior,
you,
I kind of
Nixie.
yo, once I got to be a senior, I'm gonna be real, like I gave up, man. As a senior, I was like, I'm good enough. I don't have to try that hard, and I didn't. I still did fine. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And But the thing is, the reason I was so good at school is it was literally my escapism from my house.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So it's like a lot of times people just thought, oh, she's like the perfect attendance, straight A, goody two shoes stuff. But I was like, yeah, I wish.
Mm,
I'm just like trying to ignore what's happening at my house right now.
I
So
get it.
this
Yeah.
is the best way is to
Right.
just, yeah,
Apply yourself at school, so the things at home aren't as
yeah.
prevalent. Yeah, I can understand that.
And I would take on like a lot of courses that made me not go home, like things that were like after school and
Oh.
things. Like when I was in musical theater, like you'd have to stay after, like, doing set stuff or doing like rehearsals and stuff. Or, I did culinary, and it's like you're staying after doing like, baking things for like raising money. Or like, how the teachers randomly put me in contests and would take me to places. Like I went through like English and math contests all the time because they would stick me in them. But I wasn't like on any kind of like math team or anything. Like the actual math
Right,
team would be
right.
going and the teachers would just stick me in there.
Okay. Yeah, just you're fine. Just plop you in there. You'll do great.
Yeah. So it's like that was the way like I got away from a lot of stuff, was just like burying myself. But then like my mind picked up stuff so quickly that it's like I still would speed through it. So I'm like, well, I might as well sleep because I can't sleep at home.
Mm,
So like
right.
the teachers, like some of them picked up on it, and it's like they would just let me sleep. Some of them even gave me a place to sleep with a pillow and a blanket. And it's like there would be students complaining, and they'd be like, well, once you can get straight A's on your test and turn in all your homework, you can sleep like Desi. And they would shut up.
Mm. That's so great. I had
But
I had a similar thing, not like actually similar, but a similar style of thing for how I would go about school. I
mm,
was really like, by most teachers, I was like well liked. A lot of teachers
mm,
grew to like me, so they would trust me.
yeah,
And
same.
right, so when I could, you know, maybe this wasn't the best morally thing.
Mm,
So if there was ever a time where I couldn't do something, I couldn't get a homework done, I couldn't do this specific thing, I would be able to just sort of use up that trust that I built up
mm,
to get off for that.
mm.
And then, of course, I would repay in kind by being fined for a while, and then but like you
Yeah,
could use a not I don't like the word use, but you could essentially use the trust that people have in you for benefits
yeah.
if you need them. Like they'll help you out. Like the
Mm.
teachers will help you out if they
Well,
like
that's
you.
the thing. Like, okay, look, stuff like that happened to me, but I wasn't trying to do
Hmm.
it. Because it's like the way stuff would happen. Like, okay, look, my school life was a lot like an anime
Oh boy.
where it's like stuff would happen to me, but it was like I was the protagonist for some strange reason and I didn't know why. Where it's like, there's the whole thing with skipping. You can get expelled.
Hmm.
And the thing is, like I said, I would go to sleep. One time the English class decided to, well, the English teacher like did something in the library. Of course, I finished super easy because it was writing. So I was like done super fast. And I went and laid on the couch and I fell asleep and slept through like 4 periods.
Oh boy.
So I
Wow.
skipped like 4 different classes, and I'm running into like, because I wake up, the librarian didn't wake me up. She, like, when I woke up, she's like, "Good morning, sunshine." And I'm just like, where am I? And then it's like I realize what time it is, that I missed all these classes, and I'm like running to like one teacher, and she's like, "Oh, you're okay. I thought something happened to you." And I'm like, they get like, what? I'm not gonna get in trouble? Like, what the fuck happened? All the teachers were fine. None of them wrote me up for skipping or anything. It was just like
Wow.
it was
Yes. Yeah.
completely fine, and I was just sleeping away in the library.
Exactly. I mean, if you're a good student, you're not gonna get in trouble for that kind of thing because you didn't do it on purpose, and they would never think you do it on purpose.
No.
It's only the bad kids that are gonna get in trouble because they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so I had this thing like you couldn't be in the hallways in my school during classes because there were
Uh-huh.
security guards.
They
They would
watch
come
for
talk to you.
you.
They'll watch for you and they'll be like, "Hey, you get to class." but I could walk in the hallways all I wanted. And even if I wasn't doing anything, even if I was just taking a walk, I could just
Yep.
walk around. And if all I had to do was just look like I had a purpose
I
for being
know.
there, and they didn't talk to me. Because listen up, okay, this is part of it. I know this is part of it. So back in high school, believe it or not, you would never guess by seeing me now, but back in high school, I was a very skinny kid. I weighed like I was very light, okay, and I
So
looked like
unassuming, good
yeah.
kid that looks like you couldn't hurt a
Mhm.
fly,
I
basically.
had a ton of I had very unhealthy skin because it was a genetic thing. My whole family gets it at that age, so I had lots of acne. Right.
Mm.
I used to wear glasses. I don't wear glasses anymore. Um, I had
So you're
oh
the
I
epitome of
just
glow up, is pretty much what you're saying.
I would hope so.
I would
If I
hope
mean
so.
I could show people before and after, and I have before, and they're like, holy shit, are you the same person? Um, but I looked like a fucking nerd, and then nerds aren't bad. Okay, not shitting on the nerds because I'm still a nerd, but I looked like that stereotypical nerd almost. I even had braces at one point. Don't have them, obviously. Um, like you would never look at me and expect me to be a bad kid ever.
Yeah, I just got looked at and asked if I was ethnic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up in a small town and
Hmm.
there wasn't a lot of diversity. And it's like, I'm curly hair and curvy. And, even though I'm like in high school, I started developing like very early on in middle school and developed
Hmm.
quickly. So I was a lot curvier than pretty much all the girls. There's maybe like one or two other girls that were curvy like me.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like no one really knew what my background was, and people just called me ethnic, and I didn't understand why. I was
What
like,
does
that's not even a
that's a
thing.
that's a weird term.
Yeah, I know. It was a weird term. I was just like, why are you calling me that? Like,
Ethnic.
yeah, like,
So like a minority. That's what that means.
I was like so confused. I was like,
That-
what the hell, man?
That's crazy. Like it's such
Yeah.
a weird thing to ask somebody. Are you
I
ethnic?
mean, yeah, exactly. And I'm just like,
You're
what the hell are you talking about?
That's so funny, right? You probably couldn't tell by looking at me that I am when it comes to race and stuff, I'm mixed, right? I'm half black, half white. You could not.
Mm,
You probably. I'm not like pale at all, but I
mm,
have like relatively tan skin, and it's very easy for me to tan. But
mm,
if you would see me normally, you wouldn't really guess that.
mm-hmm.
So I never got those kinds of questions.
Nah,
So
with me,
when I
it
would,
didn't matter what the color of my
yeah,
skin was because I tanned very easily too.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, I guess it was something with my hair, with the body shape, with everything. Everyone was like, okay, even people that were of different ethnicities, like as I got older, would ask me if I was their ethnicity. And I'm
that's
just
interesting.
like, they would talk to me in their language, and I'd just be like, no. It just, I don't.
That's oh man,
It's so like strange, and I
that
didn't
is
understand
strange.
why. Like, I'm just like, do I really look that much? And I got so many different things. There's only two people my whole life that figured out I was Creole, and they were Creole.
Wow. Well, there you go. Game recognized game.
Exactly. Everyone else is like, "Are you Hispanic?" Or
Are you
I got
Hispanic?
Venezuelan. I got Asian.
What?
I got
What?
I got all kinds of things. It's just
That's
like Venusian, whatever the hell that was. Like, I
I
didn't
don't
know
even know
what the
what that
fuck
is.
that was, but okay. But anyway, there was like a lot of different things that people would, and then there was the people that literally would come and talk to me in like French. They would talk to me in Russian. They would talk to me in Spanish. I'm like, do I like just look like everything? Is that
You're
my
the mixed bag.
problem?
Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen you before.
I look pretty similar to my avatar.
Yeah, really.
Like the curly hair and everything. My hair's longer now because I got my model made when my hair was
Right.
shorter, but it's like really curly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's pretty much it. Like, I'm pale now because obviously my medicine doesn't let me go in the sun. It literally tells me not to or I'll get sick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I can't like go out and tan like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I would tan like super freaking easy. And then
Right.
like I had a friend growing up who was Puerto Rican.
Let's
And
go.
it's like when I would tan, I'd be darker than her.
Mhm.
So it's like it just confused a lot of people, I guess. I don't know, but it's like even when I'm lighter skin tone, like not as tan, people still do the same thing, and I don't
Interesting.
understand it. Like it really
That's weird.
confuses me.
That is confusing. Very weird. People don't usually see me tan. Um, the tannest I get is probably about what my PNG looks like.
mm,
That's the end of the rope, right?
mm,
But usually I don't look like that. Usually I'm a little bit lighter, unless it's summer and I'm out for a while. Then yeah, I'll get like that.
mm.
Um, but yeah, you wouldn't like. I don't even think I look that similar to my model. Kind of, mind you. Like there are features I have, right? Like I've got the long, about the same length hair, maybe a little bit shorter, but I'm still growing it out.
Mm.
Um, I've got obviously, I'm the more muscular. I'm gonna be getting those sleeve tats.
Sleeve
Um,
tats. I
yep,
obviously have my tattoo. It's what it's based on.
yeah. But I don't have like super like permanently darker skin. Like it takes a little bit to get there, but then it stays there for a long time.
Mm. Yeah, I'm thinking it might have something to do with like my facial features, like the bigger eyes and like the button nose and stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
it just does. I guess it confuses people or something. It's like her curly hair, but she has a small nose. She doesn't have like an ethnic nose, but her eyes are big, and then her hair is really curly. It's like I don't know. Maybe I just confuse
I,
people.
maybe I don't know.
Because I know my mom has a sharper nose than I do. Like I have a more rounded button nose.
Hmm.
Oy. But yes. Let's see. Now, another interesting thing you can do, like I know we keep ping-ponging all around, but
Find the minor tangent.
yeah, the minor tangent we had for a bit. But another interesting thing you do besides like, just reading the actual like energies of like, the birth chart, because you still have more in there because I didn't even talk about aspects and stuff. But another thing you can do with birth charts is you can do transit stuff, right? Which is how people kind of figure out like what's good time for doing things, like, launching a business or something like that.
Hmm.
Now, right now, like I already told you earlier, there's stuff in Leo. The sun's in Leo because it's Leo season. Um, the Venus is also in Leo and it's going retrograde. So, okay, one thing this can go for everybody with Venus going retrograde, guys. If you're in a relationship and it's a really stable relationship, with it going retrograde, it might just make you guys revisit some things. Some things might feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect, and
Hmm.
like you need to sit and like really work at communicating and figure the stuff out. It's more about finding what's really important what's really important in the relationship.
Hmm.
So a lot of themes will come up that make you visit things right now. Maybe people will pop up you haven't heard from in a while that just like bring up things that you haven't thought about, or that bring up insecurities and things like that. Now, the only way to know this is happening is communication. It's why it's so fucking important. Don't just assume things. You can feel like you have the best relationship, but if you are not communicating, you won't know that something's going on with your partner. Now, that's why a lot of times when retrogrades come up, a lot of fights can happen in relationships because it's like someone's just not expressing themselves, and then it's like they're realizing they're very upset, and then distance gets created.
Hmm.
Now, for people that aren't in relationships, if you've had a previous relationship, depending on where this is happening for you, you're either the ex that is trying to contact your ex, or you're the person getting contacted by your ex. So this really depends on the person. I already made fun of Light and told her to quit trying to contact her ex. So she,
That's a lost cause.
so she's not doing it. Just leave it
Good.
alone. There's a reason for that. So the thing is, it really depends on where you are and what's going on with you. Like, I could see easily with yours because of where it'll be crossing. There's going to be things because it's not just romantic relationships. Venus is relationships, period. It's the relationship planet.
Hmm.
Now, having it go through your fourth and your third house, there's going to be a lot of themes for you that come up around family, even relationships with family, where you're having to like probably work through some things that you thought were done and it gets brought up again. And you're like, okay, I thought this was squashed, but obviously it's not. So I have to deal with it. It's going to be a theme for you. On top of it, moving back through your third house, which is going to be you revisiting like content you've created, or, you know, just certain things where it's like getting ready, like for you be like trying to launch something, going through some final revisions with that as well before it goes direct and you're like okay with launching things. It might cause some setbacks. Like you might have thought, you know, oh, I'll be gotta plug in my phone because it decided it wants to be crazy right now. Okay. There we go. Okay. Can't have it dying on me. But the thing with it going back through your third house before it goes direct, you're going to be revising a lot of things. Like if there was stuff you were planning on, say, launching closer to late July or in August, like it might push it back and make you go, I need to wait on this till September. Like it might irritate you, but it'd be better for the long run if like you notice some things you're not happy with, instead of you going and like just pushing it out anyways. It would go better like actually going through with the revision and allowing yourself the extra time, because that's the main reason for retrogrades, is revisiting things and making sure that you're actually comfortable with what you have. Now, those themes will pop up in your relationships, like if there's things with like, because third house is not only content and communication, it's also short travel, like short distance travel. It's not like the crazy like traveling like across the continent or something, like going to another like country. That's more ninth house energy. But the third house is more like it could be like moving, or it could, like you already said, you're gonna be doing moving stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm moving. I mean, I am moving across the continent, but going from the north down pretty far down south, but it's not crazy. It's not like a
Yeah, you're not going
30-hour
over.
drive.
It's not like an overseas.
Yeah, I'm not going to Europe, right?
That's more like ninth house, like traveling by plane overseas, like doing like actual like travel like that. Like third house is more of like the domain of traveling, like closer, like you can do it within your, it's like you could probably still reach it by car even if you want to reach it quicker by plane. It's like that kind of traveling.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have to drive anyway, so.
Yeah. Yes. So it's like there might be, and you probably don't want to hear this because you don't like surprises, but there might be some stuff that starts popping up when it comes to that stuff coming like closer when it gets into August. Like, and
sure.
And the thing is, just take your time and be slow with it. Like there might be things you need to revise, things you need to like, maybe a contract isn't what you thought it would be, or maybe like stuff you bought for the house doesn't go with it like you thought it would. It's like that kind of stuff. So if you take your time with it, instead of like, because it easily could make you angry, it can make you very frustrated when stuff like that doesn't work out. So if you just take your time with it and realize like it will be okay and it's happening in a sense so everything's set up the way you want it, like look at it more as like you're getting a chance to fix things so it's right the first time.
All right, exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is why this is so important to me, because it's kind of like a fresh start.
Yes.
Right? You get the chance to start with everything in a good spot,
Exactly.
rather than have it be bad and then work up to the good start.
Yes. So instead of feeling like, you know, it's a setback, look at it like, okay, wait, this is giving me time to, instead of rush whatever this is, whatever came up that like needs to be like, you know, taken care of, I can do it the way I want to. Because if you look at it like and keep trying to push it the way it is, it'll end up being a mess. It's pretty much what these come around for. If you keep staying like stuck to your guns when it's trying to help you fix something, it'll just be a mess, and then you're fixing it all through the retrograde and afterwards because you decided to fight it. Now, for some people, I am just going to go ahead and say this. If you are feeling like doing something crazy with your hair, calm the fuck down. Do not. This is literally what is warned against when Venus goes retrograde. Do not touch your fucking hair. Don't do some kind of crazy thing with your body appearance. Like, you know, if there's a fashion thing you want to like kind of like revisit a little bit and you've tried it before, maybe like that's revisiting. That is okay. Revisit it, maybe like, you know, tweak it a little bit, be happy with it, you know, if you want to change like a little bit. But if it's something you have never tried before, wait. Just wait until September, please. Wait until it's out of retrograde and then go and look at it and decide, okay, did I really want to do that? And like really look at it, because you might come September and look at it and be like, oh god, I'm so glad I didn't do that to myself. Like it's one of those things. Yes, you can dodge bullets that way. Just know that this is pretty much what July is bringing us, guys. It's bringing us like 7 planets in retrograde. Not just Venus. I'm just talking about Venus right now. But there's going to be like 7 total like going into August.
Yeah, I mean.
So there's going to be a lot of themes being brought up that we were like, yeah, I thought I was done with that. Nope. You are not. You are not done with that. You're going to be getting a lot of stuff coming back to you in different areas of your life that are like, what the hell? I thought that was over. Just try to apply grace to yourself and realize that it's so you can close all the chapters and move forward and be like happy with how the end of the year turns out. You're really working towards that end of the year being a good one instead of you going back to all your old patterns. And it's pretty much like a huge test for everybody. Like, I would not be surprised with, you know, how everything's been on the internet and everything. If things get kind of ugly,
I mean, they already
that's
have.
what I'm saying. It's already ugly. I would not be surprised if things that we thought were dead get revived on the internet and we're just like, that was over. But no, obviously it's not. And the people that didn't learn from it are gonna just dredge it up and go over it over and over again. That's pretty much what's gonna happen. You're gonna decide, okay, do I want this in my life? Do I need this, or am I just gonna cut it? And that's pretty much what all these retrogrades are for. Looking at different aspects of your life, going, is this good? Do I like this? Do I want this in my life? Is it like, you know, working for me moving forward? If not, then axe it. It's done. Like, that's what this is all for. It's not for you to be like reveling in, you know, your sorrows and being like, my life is hell. Like, for some people it might feel like hell, yes, but at the same time we want to get better from it instead of going backwards. It separates the strong from the weak, pretty much. So, you know, if you get complications, like this is just one area of your chart that I talked about, you know, and it directly applies to you moving, like at the exact time when it happens. So it's like all about just being comfortable with what's going to happen. So in other places, like I know Mars moving off into Virgo right now, which is your 4th house energy, where you're trying to be you're probably why you're feeling it so much, like very heavy. Just be careful. I know you love who you're with, but having Mars moving through your 4th house and you're trying to move, it can make you more aggressive than you realize. And depending on how sensitive your partner is, that can actually be some of the things that crop up without you realizing it because you're frustrated. So that's like a direct play on some movements that are like going through your chart right now.
Let's be careful then.
Yeah, like you might not realize it just because, you know, when you know, things get frustrated. And the thing is, it is a transit. Like, the Mars is a transit thing. It's not going to stay there. It'll lift by the time Mars gets out of Virgo, but that won't be like for a month or so. And that's literally all the time that you're taking to do this. And that's enough time to do a lot of damage if you're not careful.
So I will plan to tread lightly.
Yes, it's like, still express yourself, but be careful of your tone and the actions like you're taking while trying to convey and express yourself. Because Mars itself just naturally, especially in Virgo, when Mars is in the sign of Virgo, makes you very nitpicky. And
I'm sure
it makes you it's like, it makes you want to get organized, because people that naturally have Mars in Virgo, like, they're organized people. They're aggressive about their organization skills. So it's almost like these are the type of people that can have OCD very easily. But at the same time, you don't have that naturally. You naturally have Pisces. This energy is directly opposite your natural energy of like being more calm. So it's almost like you're having this pull of being something that's completely opposite of you right now, which can create friction. So like it might seem like you're doing normal things, but when it comes in particular to like home things, renovation, moving, family dynamics, things like that, it's going to be very touchy for you until it kind of scoots out of your fourth house.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, it's kind of like being two separate worlds at times, right?
Because you'll revert back to yourself, like, you know, you're doing your content and stuff, you're reverting back to your natural self, but you're gonna feel how different it is when you're doing anything dealing with those specific items. Like your rage limit like is a lot shorter.
Yeah, I think I'm a lot more when it comes to serious things like that, as opposed to content. I think I'm a lot more stern than regular, just because I like to make sure everything's good. I like to take care of people, so I like to make sure we're in a good spot. I like being comfortable. I don't like living like paycheck to paycheck, not necessarily financially, but just in any kind of way. Um, so I'm gonna be so much more stern. I'm gonna want to make sure things are done properly. Like I'm not gonna be insanely nitpicky to the point where it's rude,
Well, that's what
but
I'm
I will
trying to
be
warn you about.
right.
Because
I wouldn't do that.
that's
But
literally what's going across your stuff right now, is
yeah.
without realizing it. You could easily flip to that side, even if it's not normally you. Because it creates a lot, like when opposition literally is the word, like of what goes between what's happening right now. It's an opposition aspect, which creates, you know, trouble. It creates this need for balance. And if you can't find the balance and you tip one way over the other, more than likely you're going to tip into the transit's direction, because it's something that you're not used to and it's going to take you by surprise. So that's why it's like, you know, really try your best, and who you're with, if they know this, maybe they can kind of see like, okay, it obviously doesn't feel better knowing it isn't what you mean, but at the same time, it's like if something comes up, no, like, okay, yeah, he's in a boiling kind of kettle situation right now, because it's really it's like ticking, like that ticking energy, until it moves more into like your fifth house, which would be your creative space, which means you'll have like an outlet for it. Like you'll be able to find something that you can make with the energy, instead of it being like stuck in your roots, where you're like having to like funnel it into something that needs all of your attention, and it needs all the details paid attention to, instead of you being able to create with that kind of energy.
Right, because the time of a move, the time of getting back into classes, it's pretty stressful and it requires a lot of work and dedication. So that means you can't dedicate your efforts in other ways, in other, like you said, creative outlets. So I'm probably going to be a lot more stressed, and I've experienced that enough. I'm pretty stressed out. Like on the back burner, my stress is in the back, right? It's kind of,
It's
and I've
private.
noticed, yeah, it's private, and I've noticed it's built up. It's built up a little bit too, and every once in a while I'll find a way to let it out, but it can build up, and it can build up pretty quick. So I can imagine it's going to happen a lot until I have, like you mentioned, some outlet to,
Which isn't going to
let out the
come until
fumes.
closer to late August or
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. So
So
I got a month of stress ahead of me.
you got a bit of time to, and like I said, being aware of it is half the battle. Like, it's there. If you like really feel, it's like, okay, wait, I need the space because I can feel it. It's like just knowing you need to give yourself that space, because when you have this kind of energy just like pushing on you, it's very easy to just get trapped in it, when the best thing to do would be to remove yourself and give yourself a little space. Because the thing is, when Mars is in Leo, and which is what was happening before it went to Virgo, there's a lot more laughing and silliness that can go with it, and just like funny instances, as opposed to when it gets into Virgo and it's like, oh shit, stuff is messed up, we need to fix this, like down to the nitty gritty kind of thing. Because Leo, it's like silly stuff happens. Virgo, it's more serious stuff happens. And it's like that can really change the tune of things. Whereas you have the silly experiences before where it was like, oh, we forgot the list, we just didn't get groceries, that might have agitated you, but it's like a silly story. Whereas stuff got misplaced, I couldn't get in the apartment, things like that, which make you extremely agitated. Where,
Mm.
Different themes are coming into play now. So it's more about, use your energy to get the details done. Like Virgo is the sign of planning, is literally the planner of the zodiac. So use this energy and the ambition you have and the anger you feel, just funnel it into getting details done. Just funnel it all there. If you feel like it's getting too heavy for you, allow yourself a break from people, because it's going to feel like they're clustering around you and you might feel a little smothered, and they might be wanting to be helpful because, Virgo is a very helpful sign. It's the sign of being of service to others. So even though they might mean well, because other people might be driven to be of service to other people because of the Mars and Virgo energy, them being of service to you might hinder you more if you have a plan and they're thwarting it. And then it would make you agitated and blow up at people that are just trying to be nice, which would make you feel horrible.
Right.
So it's all about, having that balance of knowing, okay, I know where people are coming from, but I don't need this right now. That's why communication is so freaking important right now. It's very easy just from these little things to see, this very like specific area of your chart, how this could cause a lot of stuff. So, just being aware of it is what really helps a lot.
I think I've noticed that a little bit already with kind of, because I work, obviously, because I need money.
Mm-hmm.
So I work, and there are, with a lot of stress going on, there are going to be some days at work where it's a really shitty day, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of done with it, right? I'm getting stressed, I'm getting annoyed. So what I will do, when I'm at work, because I don't really work a job where I have to be around a ton of coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's just me and then the customers, because I work like frontline.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll tend to do is if I get really stressed out, I will give myself space while also doing the job. I'll become a little more distant. I will not
Aloof.
talk as much. Yeah, more aloof, more broody, kind of. I won't. I'll be less like talkative with customers. I'll be more like straight to the point, get the job done, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that because I don't want to talk more, because I worry if I talk a lot more, I'm probably
They'll
going to say
hear it.
something bad, and they're going to hear it. Yeah, you're going to tell I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
upset. Um, and that also applies to just like friendships and relationships as well. I won't continue talking. I'll keep my responses short if I am upset, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to say more and then end up saying something I don't mean.
Yeah. But that is like, it's pretty much like we're in the tip of the iceberg of that energy. And it's just like going to keep getting more into the thick of it as the month goes on.
All right.
Especially, yeah, it's pretty much like we tasted it, and it's getting thicker, especially when Venus goes retrograde. It's going to bring up stuff that we thought was over, which just kind of adds to the melting pot of, okay, you might be trying to help me, but you're not right now.
I mean, I think it'll be a good test of emotional maturity, right? Because
Oh,
if I make it through
definitely.
that, then I will kind of prove myself to be, pretty good going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
it
I mean, I
takes a
guess it's like a
lot
blessing.
of emotional intelligence and emotional maturity to grow through retrogrades. That's what I mean by the strong growing through the lessons. Like, instead of just becoming screaming idiots, like,
Yeah,
just
I mean,
don't do it.
listen, I'm gonna be real. I don't even think I know how to scream. Like, I listen. I worked as a camp counselor for like little kids, and you have to be
Hmm.
loud, right? And I can talk loud
Yeah,
if I
projecting
need
is
to.
different than
Yeah,
screaming. Like,
right.
I
But I,
did theater.
I
Projecting your voice
legit,
is a lot different.
yeah. But I just don't think I know how to scream, because I just don't. I
Yeah.
don't think I know how. I
Yeah, I'm not
barely
a
know how to yell properly.
yeah, I'm not a screamer. Like, I can project my voice because of theater, but I'm not a screamer where I just screech because my
Hmm.
emotions got the best of me. If
Right.
anything, I will go dead quiet.
Yeah, that's the deadly silence.
I
That's
will
that's
just go
scarier than a scream.
I won't scream. I will just go dead quiet and just not talk.
Mm,
And like that'll be it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to like voice actors or just regular people like in videos and
Mm,
shit, and they, if it's something funny, they'll scream, And I'm
Mhm.
just thinking to myself, how do you do that? How does that work? I don't know how the vocal cords are supposed to move there.
How are they supposed to move?
Yeah. Uh, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, I could definitely see you kind of being like the type to
Mm.
quiet down, right? If you're getting
Very
really
stubbornly
agitated.
quiet down. I have a
Mm-hmm.
Mercury in Taurus. That Taurus is a sign of like comforts and everything, like I said, but it's also the most stubborn thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I will
Yeah.
just get quiet for a long time.
Yeah, cues like that too. They'll get quiet when and they just take time to themselves, right? When they need to relax.
Very quiet time to myself.
They're the type to feel better in the morning after resting.
Mm.
So yeah, I can see that.
It's like, give me my space, let me get through my emotions, and then I may talk to you later.
Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
That's exactly what I do.
Are you the same person? Hold on. Can we start a conspiracy
I
theory
mean,
using a voice changer?
maybe she has Mercury and Taurus like I do.
Again, we will find out.
Oh
Get your ass
shit!
on
I
the
like
show,
how
Kiyu.
you're like determined. Like we're gonna find out.
We're gonna get you on the show.
We're gonna get you on here and we're gonna read your chart, and then he's gonna be like, "Ha ha."
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of "I told you so"s.
I want. But yeah, that there's all that, and then of course let's see. I'm trying to think of any other transits you should think about. Let's see. We do have a new moon. Oh, that'd be good. Okay. So you do have
Oh
a new
boy.
moon that's going to be going through your second house on the 17th of this month. So it's almost like, because the second house is, values money, things like that. It could also like indicate income streams, and new moons tend to be creating something. So if you're working on something, it could be the chance of like actually creating a different type of income stream.
Mm-hmm. You
And
know.
it like it doing pretty well, because like I said, some people do use astrology for launching things. New moons are great for launching new creative projects.
Mm.
It's literally like taking stuff from the void and throwing it out and going, hello, I am creating, is pretty much what new moon energy is
Oh
for,
yeah.
because it's the
What do you
sun and
know?
the sun and the moon working together.
Great. I mean, I'm working on two very large projects right now, so I won't say anything about them. But that's very convenient.
Yeah, so it's like you have a pretty good date, like around that date, to like launch something. It has good energy around it. Or if you want to wait until like stuff's a little like closer to your Jupiter, when things are in Leo for you, it's great for launching things with that Jupiter in Leo, because it's just going to make it
Mm.
bigger.
Okay.
Also Aquarius and really early Pisces, so that's more like late January to early March are good times too. So for you it'd be more like July into August, and then late January into early March would be good times for launches for you, because planets are
Okay.
going to be typically like, oh, like around like all your happy stuff. That just makes things bigger.
Great. I know
You're
I
like,
got my dates lined up.
you're like, hell yeah. Work
Yeah, I
through
mean,
my
we're
stuff.
looking pretty good right now. I mean,
It just gives your natural chart a good boost when other stuff is transiting with it. It like lights it up and makes it brighter than it is
okay.
naturally. So that's kind of why it gets a good boost, especially like when you're getting like new moons. Full moons are more about finishing things. Like say you have a project that's coming to an end, full moons are a good time to like end it, because it's more of like a
Mm,
closing off energy.
right.
But the new moons are good about like starting something that hasn't been seen yet, so it's like a new project.
Cool. Awesome. That's perfect. All right, guys, you heard him. Wait a little bit.
Wait a
Around
little bit.
17th, maybe till January if you must.
If you
Expect
must,
something.
something will happen. But like those times tend to be pretty good. Like I wouldn't say like, because the thing is like with your fifth house, even though it's like your house of like creating things, you actually have an interception going between your fifth and 11th houses. which is where you have like Libra and Aries in there. So those energies themselves don't really come as naturally to you. It's more like you learn those energies through other people. That's what an interception is. So Libra energy is literally the sign of partnerships, which, you know, for some people, they're just naturally a partner. It's like, for you, it's going to be more like you learn very like Venus type themes from other people, whether that's like beautifying your space or like aesthetics or like.
Listen, I have terrible fashion sense, okay? So this is pretty accurate.
It's just absent from you. And it's not like some people, because some people can just, you know, lack it a little bit but still get kind of creative with it. It's like the energy's just missing for you. It's like in a void and you're like, I don't know where to find it. You find it through learning through other people, literally, that have this kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other energy is the Aries energy, because when you have an interception, it's two signs that are intercepted. So the other energy is Aries. Now Aries is the fighter. It's the one that's like running off, going to war, you know, that Mars energy I told you about. It's like fight first, think later. It's like that energy is missing for you, where it's like you just, you know, up in arms now, which, you know, as we talked about, your aggression is pretty stifled unless it's triggered by things that are very, very specific. And even then you think about it. So it's almost like you learn that, like, I stand up for me energy from watching other people, which is good, like, you know, having the dad, because the dad is actually a very prominent role here. Like, he actually has a trine to your Mars, so he's the one that's teaching you how to stand up for yourself. Like, you had someone born into your life to teach you that. Otherwise, you probably would have been just kind of wandering around and letting things happen to you.
So this is great. This is one of the best things I've heard this stream, because this is a big story of part of my life. This is describing a big change. After I graduated high school, you know, I went to college, and during that entire period from birth to end of high school, maybe beginning of college, I was a pretty big pushover. I would not stand up for myself for things. I would let things happen, let everything happen to me. And now, and especially, it correlated perfectly with my workout starting. Once I started doing that, I had a massive change in personality, in motivations, and especially confidence. So I am definitely, with my dad in mind, like you said, I am much better with standing up for myself and my values than I ever have been, and that's still improving. So that's great that this is part of that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like really hard, especially since it's not there to kind of pick it up early. You literally have to learn it as you go along, from like watching other people, from like being able to pick it up in different environments. It's not going to be something that's innate. Like, you know how some people just have like innate artistic ability, like as an example.
Right.
Like those kind of things, or even like an innate personality to be fiery and like stand up and fight for things. Like, some people are just born that way no matter what they come out of, right? Even if they're squashed, which I think I honestly have that, because I got squashed a lot and I'm still very fiery and I don't fucking care. But at the same time, that comes out more in my public persona, because that's what shows in my chart. Like, my public persona is the fiery thing, because it's actually Aries. Like, in person, I'm a lot more subdued and I like get pushed around a lot more, and I'm a lot more shy. Like, I'm way more like pushy in public persona type thing.
I see what you mean.
And I'm also stand up for things and speak my mind a lot more. Like, any career I was in, I was the one, you know, standing up for people and saying certain things, because I would get frustrated and angry at how I saw things getting done. So it's like, as opposed for myself, like personally, I would not stand up for myself, but if I saw wrong happening in like a job place or to somebody else, like I would get very defensive for others. And it's like that fire would come up. So it's almost like my brain just decided to leave my body. Now I was in the middle of thinking, and it just whited on me.
You're doing good, hon. Good job.
bite it out on me.
Take a breath. You're doing it.
That happens to me sometimes. I'm used to it, but it just happens, sadly.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, it's like you can usually when you have like an interception like this, it's like you'll go through like the first part of your life really not having these energies at all, and it's something you really have to grow into and work hard to learn. Like I've seen some people have these kind of energies, like when it deals like with actual like first and seventh house, which is literally of the self and with relationships. So they lose themselves in relationships completely because they don't know who they are. So it's almost like always a fight to like find out who they are, and it's better. And they are the type of people that never want to be alone either, because it's like they feel like they're nothing when they're not with somebody, because it's like they can't figure it out on their own.
Right, they give them their sense of self.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, with you having it with 5th and 11th type energy, this is like you're creative. Like you said, people are not going to know you're creative. Like the art thing. They're not going to know about it, because it's one of those things that it's almost like you feel like it eludes you unless like it really speaks to you, or if it's just silly and you're not taking it serious. So it's almost like you yourself feel like you don't have talent, even if other people tell you you do, and that's what you're like going to school for. You're going to sit there feeling like you lack in that department, especially to make something that's aesthetically pleasing. So it's like it just bothers you.
Oh yeah.
It's like, where's my eye for this?
Yeah, I feel like I don't have an eye for my own art and my own creations, but I have such a good one for other people's.
Yes, and you see the details that other people don't see. Because your 5th house is ruled by Virgo, which means like creatively you're very detail oriented. Like you'd be one of those artists that could create something that has all these tiny details in it that people keep finding things.
I can definitely see that happening.
The next Mona Lisa.
Oh no. I'm not making the next Mona Lisa. I'm making the first of whatever I'm making.
Yeah, he wants to be the first.
I'm making my own thing, okay? Mona Lisa's gonna be taken off the wall. I've seen the Mona Lisa, okay? In person. It's not that impressive.
Just keep both your ears.
Both my ears.
Because those ears.
Oh, that's right.
But
talk about Van Gogh.
Yeah, he is. He's got to jump around.
I don't plan on chopping off any of my ears, okay? Unless I get into a fight with like Mike Tyson or some shit.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I'll be good.
I was thinking that like you might want to stay away from that a little bit. But and then like 11th house is more of like the networking. Now, it might seem very foreign to you to actually be able to easily network with people. It's almost like it's surprising to you when people want to do things.
Honestly,
with like
sometimes.
Because you're just like, I don't feel like I have the energy to connect people. And it's like, that's why like you really jumping into this brand thing with like, you know, your lure being to like pull a group together is going to help you find this. Because it's like you're actively working to find the things that you're like missing.
Right. I mean, everyone always says when it comes to OCs, they tend to be what you aspire to be. So that's a good example of that.
Yes. And the thing is, your 11th house is ruled by Pisces energy, which is very daydreamy. So it's almost like you can dream up a bunch of ways to network, but the actual taking the action of like doing the networking is kind of like finding the motivation to I have ideas, but
yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's always the ideas, but it's the carrying them out that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's what's missing for you is like that action energy of like just going after it and doing it.
I tend to have a lot of unfinished projects because I have this great idea and then I work on it and I don't finish it because I just don't know how, so I just give up on it.
Yeah, it's like you need to have someone that helps with it's not necessarily a cheerleader, but it's almost like a check-in person where it's
Hmm.
like they motivate you to stay on track with things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Because like having someone do that for you would be accountability buddy.
Right, right.
There we go. It's like you don't need it for working out because you have the obsession with your routine, but you need it for like those ideas, especially when it's like bringing groups together. Like you might have, oh my God, I don't want to call you out like that. I just realized what I was about to say.
No, what were you gonna say?
No. Because it actually happened and I was there and saw it happen.
No, go ahead. I don't care.
With your old persona when you were getting together the huge thing of getting people together and then it fell through.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, that's not. Don't worry about talk about that.
Yeah. That's what I
See, but
mean. It's
right.
like that kind of thing where it's like the great idea is there. And it's like it really is a great freaking idea. That's the whole thing. But then it's like having the energy to continue it and follow through with it is like it's missing in your chart. It's like you need like a co-pilot with you that has that energy.
Right. Somebody to balance each other out, the yin and yang kind of thing. I
Like,
think what's important about that kind of thing, especially something that big, is that something is always, even if it doesn't go as it originally intended, something is gained from it regardless.
yes. That's what I feel. Is like it's really important because, having that wound you do with the Chiron thing, it's really important to be able to see the silver lining in your projects that don't go the full extent. Otherwise, it'll just bury you.
I do tend to be like a silver lining kind of guy. I
Yes.
regularly use at least in my vocabulary.
I'll
Mental
motivate
vocabulary.
you.
I mean, shit, if you want to, I could use the help.
Because that's the thing. It's like you have like there's the people that are like literally like I was talking to when I was doing Misty's chart. She's literally a natural creative. Like she doesn't need a search. She's like just a volcano erupting with ideas, but she also has the energy to just do the things. Like she's not missing those type of things.
Right.
Like that's what tends to happen when you have like the interception, or if your ambitions are in a more like downtrodden, like for yours it would be detriment, because like having like a watery Mars is like more detriment is the vocabulary for it in astrology, because it's like you're fighting an uphill battle just to be able to use your motivation. And then on top of that, you also have an interception, which would be like the peak of motivation, and then like it's intercepted. So it's like you're missing the energy on top of having something that's in detriment. So it's like you need helpers. And then you also have your 11th house having this thing. So it's like finding the helpers isn't easy.
Right. I
So
agree.
and I think that's mainly due to the fact that it's easier for you, sadly, to find ways of getting around it, like that escapism energy, than to actually put the effort into doing the things. Because it's like, well, if it doesn't work out anyways, I've just wasted all this time, so why not just do something else?
Right.
So it's like making those excuses up is really what comes in and stops you from even finding the people that can do this for you.
There have definitely been times where I've made that kind of excuse. But I've noticed when I do have somebody to hold me accountable, it goes very well. Right? And listen, Kiyu, I know you're listening right now. This is what I need you to do, okay? When we move in, I need you to be holding me accountable for shit. Because I think you will be surprised at what I could get done if you make me do it.
He's
I know
not
I'm a
saying
stubborn son of a bitch, but you gotta work for it, okay?
I mean, he's less stubborn than some people. I will put it that way.
Yes, exactly. I'm not impossible, okay?
Like, it's not like he's stubborn in the sense of like he doesn't want to do it. He does want to do it. He's just off daydreaming somewhere.
Yeah.
There are
Or I'm
some
just
people
lazy,
that there's some people that want to daydream and then still don't want to do shit and want you to be their mom. No.
No, absolutely not. I don't need another mother, okay? I need a not that.
He needs a partner.
Exactly.
And as you can see, his mother's very alien to him. So no, he doesn't need another mother.
Please, I don't need any more of that. I went so many years of my life that way, so let's keep it at that.
Yes. But oh, I do want to ask you because you were saying like time wise, and I know you're hours ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you doing time wise?
Well, I'm not doing bad time wise,
What the
but
pillow?
you know, you a pillow? Okay. I don't need like
Motivation.
a rubber band snap kind of motivation. That's not what I mean. But maybe it'll work. I don't know.
It might.
Um, I don't know. Maybe give me a shock collar. I don't.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Right?
You see what he's
Um,
into.
well, no, but not that kind of into. But it
Okay.
might work. But time wise, I'm not doing bad. I probably still have another half an hour if there's
Hmm.
more to talk about.
Okay. I was just making sure. Well, also, I do want to ask because we have talked about goals, and I know you have a lot of secrets. But what
Oh
goals
boy.
do you have though
Just in general.
for your persona? I already know your goals about moving in, and I'm really hoping that goes well with you for you with all these
Oh,
transits you're going to be having all
oh,
over
it
it.
it had better because listen, this is the only chance I got. Right, this can't go
Hmm.
wrong, or I'm fucked for the rest of my life.
I'm telling
So
you, just take your time with it. Don't
I will.
rush it. If you're rushing it, there's going to be mistakes made, and that's what all this energy is about, is not rushing it.
I will have patience. But other than that, basic goals I've got, like more physical things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a model. Okay, that's gonna wait. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna take a long time, so I'm not rushing that either. But I'm still working on improving the character I have, building up the world, building up the design. So I want that, and it probably won't. Realistically, probably won't come until like January. What we're saying, right? Um, I'm telling. See,
Perfect
it lines
launching
up.
time.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, it's coming. There's your little spoiler. Um, Other than that, besides working on my physical appearance, that just happens by default. But I've obviously
Mm-hmm.
got big goals for that, right? I mean, I have literal weight goals.
Mm.
I won't be saying those, but I have them, and strength goals as well. Um, Appearance goals. Growing out my hair. I know you shouldn't be doing too much of the hair, which is why I'm leaving it. First of all, I'm not
Yeah,
touching it.
just leave it.
I'm
Don't
leaving. I'm
don't go
letting it grow.
crazy.
I'm not going crazy, but I
You might
I am
feel it
growing it
while
out.
you're doing it. You're like, damn, I just want to buzz this shit. I'm so over it.
The
I'm
amount of
angry.
times I've hated the growing process has been unreal
I'm
because
just
my
gonna
hair
buzz
is,
it. You might
yeah,
get a
my
really strong hair up your ass feeling like you want to buzz it because you're
uh
irritated. Don't do it.
no, I would never. Listen, I'm built for the long hair. It's just such a pain in the ass to grow out. Cause listen, it's not at the point where it is just barely reaching the point where I can tie it back. So it would be weird to tie it back, but it's like maybe like a month off from being perfect for that. So it's in the most annoying stage.
Yeah, I love how the month is the retrograde. It's like in
Yeah,
the
I'm
most
telling you.
annoying stage.
Yeah, this is the worst time. I've never hated my hair more, but I got it. I literally right now I wear a beanie all the time, just
Mm,
because I can't deal with the hair.
yeah, just push
Uh,
through. Push through. It'll be worth it
yeah,
in
I
September.
sure hope so.
Just push.
Yeah. Other than that, though, in terms of goals, just again, I've got those two projects I'm working on.
Mm,
Um, One I'm gonna really try to crack down, starting this week into the next. So I want to, really improve and get that done. But also just in general, I just kind of want to improve the skills I want to be good at, right?
yeah.
I know I'm going into school for digital art and design, but I'm having a focus within that major of video editing, right?
Ooh.
That's my focus. So I want to get really good at that. And I have practice and I'm getting better. But I'd like to get way better, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You wanna
Um
bump it from like the amateur to like past intermediate.
right, exactly. Like I know more than the average person, but I don't know more than the average editor.
Yeah, exactly.
Um but then there's also, this is great that we're talking about retrogrades because um I'm also going to be trying to revisit my artistic talent because
Mm,
frankly, as of late, I have not exercised that as much. And it's kind of fallen into a ditch, right? Where I'm in a spot where
yeah.
it kind of feels like you've started over, and you haven't, because once you work on it, you'll pick it back up quick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in that stage where you just feel like, man, was I ever good at this?
But it's also in the stage where you can decide to take with you what you like, though, instead of feeling
Hmm.
you have to take all of it.
Right. Yeah, you get to pick and choose the things that work for you.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's all
Yes,
about.
exactly. Right. This is a good time, to pick a, coming up in the next few months is probably going to be a good time to pick a, find out, literally artistically find out your style, which is
Mm-hmm.
what I still need to do.
It's actually
I still
very
need to
good
develop
energy
it.
for that because Venus is all about the arts.
Yeah, okay.
So if you quite literally are an artist and you're struggling with style, like use it to revisit everything and see what you really like. That'd be a
Right.
perfect time for it.
Yeah, find some inspiration, look at other artists, other works, figure something out, try new shit, and it'll
Mm,
probably, it could work.
yeah, and give yourself time because this retrograde does last up until September. So it's like 1 week and you're like, "Oh fuck this." No, that's
Oh
not.
yeah.
No, it's not that kind of energy. It's lasting a while. Give yourself a time, and it doesn't have to be like just art. It can be writing. It can be like singing. It can be like content creation, things like that. And like depending on where this is all happening for anyone, it's gonna be like a major spotlight on that part of your life where you're
Hmm.
like, like say, we already talked about where it's happening for you, but say it's like happening in someone's sixth house, they could be completely revamping all of their routines, like can be revamping like what it's like in their home, so that way, they can follow their routines easier, maybe even getting like an at-home gym or something.
Hmm.
Like that kind of stuff ties together. And then it's like you have a new lifestyle by the time it's over because it's like you really implemented it over the retrograde.
Right.
So it's like it affects everyone differently. But it doesn't mean you can't go back and do other things that are in other parts of your life to kind of add to it.
I think this is a good time for adding new things, revisiting old things, and just kind of building up your personal
Mm.
arsenal, if you will.
Yeah, and just be careful about like throwing out like say like, how you have projects and stuff. It's just don't it's like if you've been working and working on a project and like you feel good about it, like that's one thing, but don't go like starting a brand new project in this energy
Oh
and
yeah.
releasing it in the energy. You're gonna come back in September and be like, like just be like, why did I do that? It's like that kind of thing. Like it's the same thing for a haircut. It's like if you're really thinking about doing something and it wasn't something you've already been planning for a long time going into this energy, and it's like you're still like just like fine tweaking it and like putting it out, that's a lot different than like thinking of something and doing it and putting it out in the next month. Like that's a lot different because things are going to be shifting a lot, and who you are in
Hmm.
September is not going to be reflecting who you are right now.
I'm sure.
You might even be very embarrassed.
Oh well.
So just be careful.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it's all about taking your time and not rushing. It's gonna feel very wonky. I'm not gonna lie. With everything going retrograde, it's gonna feel like we're walking through freaking sludge. But it's like it's easy to get frustrated in that kind of energy, especially if things are messing up and you feel like things aren't like speedily fixing themselves. It's like, oh, they were quick to break, but they sure aren't getting fixed quick. It's like, that kind of thing. It's all about like having patience with it, and it just really sucks, especially if you're not someone who has a lot of patience and you just get like really irritated. You're going to be tested a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Damn.
Like if
Good luck,
you
guys.
have some fire placements where you just like boil over super easy, you're going to be getting tested a lot, and it's like not going to stop testing you until you're finally like, oh, I'm just over it, and then you're like finally like learning that why you have fire placements, Nixie.
Fuck. That's great. Good luck, Nix.
Good luck. But it's like, even though all this stuff is happening, it doesn't mean it's all going to be bad. Obviously, you know, putting all that time and the effort into something means you're really going to like what you come out with. Whether it's relationship or like creative endeavor or whatever it may be. It just sounds like you, the impulsive blowing upness. But also, if stuff is happening with exes, just, you know, if it was something that you weren't sure about, give it until September. If it like, instead of like jumping in, like, you, because there's going to be stuff happening. Uranus, you know, that I talked about earlier, how it likes being the great equalizer and throwing random stuff in just because it can, and throwing lightning bolts. It's going to be mixed into this stuff while all this crap is happening. So you might get a surprise. If you go and visit your ex, you might wind up with a kid. You don't want that.
No.
Just wait. Wait, people, until this is over, and then start talking to them if you still have the itch to do it, or if they're still contacting you. Because if you tell them to wait and that you're busy until like September or something, and if they're very committed, okay, maybe talk after September. But if they're like, whatever, and they were just wanting a fling and that fling would have got you pregnant, no.
Oh no.
Like, no, we don't want that, guys. Just, it's that kind of energy right now where it's like, oh, I partook in the debauchery and oh, I got a surprise lightning bolt shock.
It's just a little miracle for you.
A little miracle for you, because, you know, Uranus doesn't care. It's like, what is it gonna do? It's a surprise. It's like, it's really that kind of energy where the same thing, whether you want to apply it to different situations, that's what's gonna happen. And it's the totally unexpected, and it's meant to teach you a lesson if you're not listening. It's literally what it's meant to do. And I'm telling you, there are some things you can do that teach you lessons that do not go away for a long time. And you do not want that happening to you during a retrograde, because you'll keep visiting it over and over and over again.
Yes, it'll loom over you like a demon.
Like a cycle. It doesn't go away. The sleep paralysis demon. But, yeah, just a forewarning. And obviously, I don't know everyone's charts here, so I can't tell you where exactly it's going to hit in each of your charts, because it's going to be different. Just like with Shin's is very specific in his chart where it's hitting. And it's obviously hitting in a place where he's like, why? Why are you touching me moving? Like, leave me alone. It's like, that's how it's going to kind of feel for people. It's going to be touching in places where it's like, don't do it. Don't touch it. But it's where we learn patience, and it's where we learn lessons. So mine better be nice. I deal with enough with what I have in my freaking 6th house.
Amen.
But it's going to affect everyone different, really depending on your chart and your placements and like how stuff interacts in your chart. Oh, and one other thing. Leo energy is very dramatic and loud. It is meant for the stage, but often when it comes out of people in your private life and they're dramatic and fiery in front of you, that does not bode well. And people on the internet seem to think that since they're keyboard warriors, they can be extremely dramatic and loud as well for some reason.
Oh boy. I hate that, man. I hate that so much.
I don't know if you noticed, but all the dramas and everything have gotten a lot worse over these past couple months.
Oh yeah, I cannot say how much I despise it. Like, listen, man, just keep your mouth shut. It's not Twitter ain't the place to talk about it, okay?
It really isn't.
I don't think I will ever enter myself into any drama ever, because it's just not smart.
It's not.
No offense, but
it's childish, and that's Leo energy. It's literally the inner child and like being a kid. But when that's brought into a public forum and people are being immature about it, you're being the childish kid instead of like, you know, just having fun and creating things like your inner child wants.
Yeah, that's kind of an issue with like one of the issues with this community in general is that there's a lot of immaturity in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can stem from a lot of places, but
A
it's still there
lot.
regardless. And it causes so much trauma. It just doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm. Like Leo energy can be very pick me. Like
Oh yeah.
worship me, pick me kind of energy. And the thing is, until we're out of all this Leo crap, you know, Sun's in Leo right now, Venus going retrograde in it, Mars finally moved out of it, but it's in Virgo now. So, like I said, it's going to be more nitpicky with what it's running at instead of just being silly and loud. It's going to be more nitpicky and maybe a little more like underhanded and like backstabby. Well, which is wonderful. Yay for people on the
Yes.
freaking internet. That's what we need right now.
Yep.
But with all that happening, it's like if you know all it is a bunch of people being loud for no freaking reason, you can decide if you want that in your life or not. Like there's no substance to it, guys. There's no substance. Like if it was a different sign, like say maybe like even opposite, like in Aquarius, which is like all about humanity and for humanity's sake and things like that, instead of being like all about like the glorious king queen self and all that kind of crap, it's like this is very superficial poppy kind of stuff. And it's like instead of it getting to the meat of things that need to be taken care of, it's all going to be very surface level, and what's argued over is going to be very surface level instead of actual like facts and stuff. It's going to be more like loud feelings, and it's pretty much what we got until we're out of this energy in a couple months. Because it ramped up all summer long with everything just flying all around in Cancer and Leo and everyone being very pissy and emotional. It's going to stay like that till we move to a little bit calmer waters and people are trying to be amicable again. But as it is, people are not going to be for at least a few more months.
Oh, great. Awesome.
And then on top of that, we have a bunch of old stuff coming back up that we thought had died its death, and it didn't.
Oh yeah. Yep, you can take one look at Twitter and you'll see that happening.
Yep, it's just gonna get worse. We haven't hit the pinnacle of it yet. But if you know that, you can decide if that's what you want to spend your time on.
I would advise against it. Please. Just protect yourself.
But yeah. But I think, you know, since, you know, your time is drawing near, we can go ahead and
I'm dying already?
No, you're no.
Oh God,
that is not what's happening.
I'm still so young.
It's not, no. But you know, bringing our first episode to a close, I would definitely love to have Caillou on if you would like to make a call out thing for her. I do have some people lined up already. Like our next guest is going to be Light, who is obsessed with having her chart read over and over. Yeah. So she's gonna come back on Sunday. And then Misty's the following Wednesday. But I haven't gotten anyone for the following Sunday yet. I haven't set up who's gonna be coming on that one. So if Caillou wants to come on that one before I set one up and claim it, we can do that, and we can do.
Yeah, I'm sure they would love to. Caillou,
Caillou,
get your ass over here.
You're getting
on here.
You're getting your chart done, so that you can be like, "I told you so."
Yep. I bully them, but they love it. It's a good little thing we got going on.
But yeah, it's gonna be the same time. When I do the shows, the 12 p.m. my time. I don't know what time it is for everybody else, but it's 12 p.m. for me when I start. It was great to come back and, you know, this be my first thing back after having like a hiatus because I got sick for a month back to back. It was wonderful.
I mean, yeah, this is a great creative new way to introduce things. I think, you know, I just want to, you know, of course, thank you for having me on. You know, it's been very informative. It's been very fun. It's been nice chatting with you again, of course.
Yes.
Always a lovely time. Overall, this has been great, and I'm pretty excited to see how it goes and develops with more people as they come in.
Yes. I love doing this. I've done this for like a long time, like just the astrology part, but I've always wanted to have like more of like like a conversation type thing, because like I've done live readings like with chat and stuff, but it's so different to have someone up and like have like the fun banter and the talking and stuff while it's happening too, and the
Right.
reactions and everything, because for me half the fun is the reactions. Because it's just like, what, are you serious? Because it's like, you know, it does shock people that I can say stuff and it's like, yeah, that fits.
hmm
And it's like, you know, a lot of the stuff I talked about, I didn't know any of the stuff about Shin. I just said it, guys, from looking at the chart, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah, there's always a way for it to fit into me, so take that as you will. But
Yeah, but take it as you will. But yeah, I love doing this stuff, and you know, everyone is so different, and it's always like so much fun. And you know, if just for any future guests, just so you know, I do have a thing where it's like, you know, if you feel like something is too touchy, I do ask you beforehand, and I won't like bring that up. You know, I'm
right,
respectful if like, you know, because there's stuff I didn't bring up here because, you know, he told me his boundaries. And it's like, it's easy for me to stay in the realm of like just talking about other things because there's so much freaking stuff in charts. But obviously it's a really fun conversation, and it leads to like learning a lot more stuff than you would about somebody, like, you know, just asking regular interview questions.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like it's like a whole interview in and of itself because you'll say some things, and then
Hmm.
me, of course, and just any guest will elaborate, and you'll learn a lot about them.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. I feel like I'm putting my two things I wanted to do together into a show, so it makes me happy.
Yeah, I think you've done a great job.
Yo. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end it here if you have any closing comments, Shin, or if the chat has any closing questions that they would like answered before we go.
Yeah, I mean, this is like half of a Q&A, so this is your
Mm-hmm.
chance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But no, next year I'm not asking. You're not allowed to ask me my age because lore wise, I'm still not
Mm-hmm.
telling you. Um, as for any last comments, I would say if any of you are content creators, I would encourage you to hop up on the show. Maybe spread it around a bit, get your friends into it. I think it's a great thing that's happening here, and I think it could turn into something even greater.
A lot of
And
fun.
it's already lovely as it is. It's a lot of fun. It is what you make of it, so it doesn't have to be the same for everybody, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think Desi's a really sweet person. Very easy to get along with, and overall just really fun to chat with. Right, I've hung out with him. We've streamed together. Super Bunny Man coming soon again. Um, it's just a great time overall. So I know some people are socially anxious, or maybe they don't know Desi very well, and I would
Mm-hmm.
encourage you to try to push past that. That boundary right there because you'll love it. It's a great experience.
I try to make people comfortable. I understand social anxiety too well.
Yeah, and I think you do a good job. I mean, I'm not very socially anxious in this context, but so maybe it's not my place to speak on it, but I think I've felt comfortable. I think you would make others feel that way as well.
Thank you. And Otto, I don't know. Were you there? How do you know the
If a
tree fell?
tree, well, listen up. I got a great answer for this question,
Oh
and
my
it depends on how
god.
you define sound, right?
Oh my god. Great.
Now listen, okay? Sound is everyone knows sound is just the vibrations through the air, right? The air is the medium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does a sound become a sound when it is heard, or is a sound innate and is just any kind of vibration in the air that would end up in an ear?
Did the tree fall in a vacuum?
Right. If it fell in a vacuum, no, then it literally makes no sound. But because there's nothing for it to travel through.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think if nobody was around to hear it, it would still make a sound. It would all of the physics apply, you just wouldn't hear it. So there
Science
you go.
crushing the question.
Science. I mean, that being said, even if no people are around to hear it, what about the animals, right? What about the other organisms
Yeah.
that can hear, right? What about the trees that can feel the vibrations, even
Pretty
though they
sure
don't
it
have a
bothered the
nervous
hell out of
system?
them.
Exactly. They were distraught. Like maybe
Especially
they
the one
didn't
that
hear
was
it, but they
on the
felt it.
tree.
I know. Yeah, exactly. You probably didn't hear it, but shit, that must have hurt, man. So,
But yes, if that wraps up our questions.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad we really got to the bottom of that because it's been bothering me for a while.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up our first episode here. How do I do the shout out thing? Shout you out one last time.
Oh, I appreciate it. Actually, you know what I think would be a cool idea,
What?
Desi? I think it would be interesting, and this is far down the road.
Mhm.
After this series has gotten going and it's gotten a lot of people,
Mhm.
if you maybe after a long time, maybe even years, if that's what it takes, you came back and revisited and checked in on the people who you interviewed
I
to
would
see
love
what
that.
has gone, see what has happened.
Be like, what happened to your moving situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll tell you all about it if you want to know, but
Like,
yeah,
what
stuff like that.
happened that was the hiccup that you had to fix?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll have a lot to say about it.
But yeah, that would be really cool. And to see if
Yeah.
people, because I know some people will probably come on, because I know a lot of content creators have trouble with branding too.
Mhm.
And like how I told you, you're like really working well into fitting into like the brand mold of your like persona with like all the Aquarius energy that you actually really filled the role in very well. Like some people who struggle with branding, it could really help to actually learn what would be the comfortable energy for their persona.
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, again, like you said, it's pretty simple for me because my persona matches me pretty well already. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to change that much. For some people, they have to act. And they have to
Mm-hmm.
put on a bit of a face, which isn't a bad thing. That's what I used to do when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, this is a good chance to learn about it.
Yeah. Like me, I'm more in my element with what I do now than when I first started. Like I was pretty
Mhm.
close, but the thing is with the Aries persona and where my stuff is, it's better for me to be more talking and teacher like, and talk show is really good for that and spreading like information and stuff than it is for me to just be like a cozy like comfy streamer like some people would have it. Plus, it would also be better since my thing is Aries to be more combative and probably play rage games, which I don't do. So I probably should try that and see how it goes.
All right, we should get you on. What's that? What's that new one that came out
I'm already
recently?
doing something. It's called Golf with Your Friends on Saturday. It's gonna be my first rage.
Wow. You gotta play. You gotta play. Only up.
Oh Lord.
I think you'd be great at that.
Highlight. There she is.
Hey, Lay, how are you, hon?
She's very on brand herself.
Perfect. You gotta watch the VOD, see how it went, so you can get an idea.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it works very different for everybody. And once you kind of like know the feel of it, because it's always going to be different than who you are in person, just because your rising is always so different. So, who you are in person is not going to be who you are on the internet for a reason. And this is the reason right here. You can actually see it. I'm that one brand. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call it here though. So you have your time to do your things. And I feel like this was a really good first episode.
I agree. I think it set a good precedent for the ones to come.
Yeah, and Light's the one to come on Sunday.
Yep. And then Kiyu, the one you're doing. So
Yeah, and Q.
yeah.
Got another person lined up now after Misty.
Why is it called physics if it's used for non-physical concepts? Well, okay, last answer to the question, then we're leaving, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Because it still is physical concepts, even if you can't see it. Like, everything aside from energy in the world is physical. And physics is just a study of how things interact with each other. That's it. It's a very broad term. Physics and physical are not the same thing.
I love it. He has to think of something.
Always.
My brain. But yes, like I said, I'll be back on Saturday. We're doing a very fun Golf with Your Friends collab. Otto is going to be there with his craziness.
Oh boy.
And so is Rez, who was in chat, as well as my boyfriend, who you guys see moderating right now. And as well as some other peeps. Some of you have never seen, and others you have seen us collab with. So it's gonna be a bunch of fun chaos. Being a lazy lion. But yeah, very excited. And then of course Light coming on Sunday. So having a little breaksy in between and then coming back for the weekend.
Oh, you got a lot of stuff lined up.
Yeah. I took my month off for, you know, getting better, and now I'm back and jumping into the swing and being happy about it.
Nice. Coming back strong. Good work.
I can't wait either. Everything is going to be a lot of chaotic fun. But yeah, thank you for coming. And I will definitely keep the thing in mind that you said about the coming, like inviting people back to see how they're doing later. I think that's a very great idea.
Yeah, well, awesome. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a very fun time.
Yes. And like, how do I shout you out to leave?
I don't know. It depends what your shout out command is.
I can't remember. What did you do? For Shin. Let's do another one for Shin. I remember this. I made this. I remember this one. That one's for readings, but I can't remember the.
I think that's right.
Yeah, Castanova.
That's A.
Castanova.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay, so it's shout. Okay, so it's the exclamation point. I wrote out the word before it. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. My brain.
Yeah, take a little brain break.
Yes.
Been a lot of thinking this stream.
A lot of thinking. This thinking is easier for me than most thinking though, because my brain's really wired for this stuff.
Yeah, perfect. Great. You'll have a quick recovery time.
Yeah, I don't have the thing where it shows clips of people.
I need to get that too.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. If I figure it out, I'll tell you how to do it.
Well, Striker knows. He said he'll set it
Oh, perfect. Oh, sure. You're gonna teach me how to do it, man. Like, hit me up with that YouTube tutorial.
He knows how to do a bunch of stuff. But yeah.
Nice.
The only thing that didn't, I just realized it now. I am so slow at the very end of the show. I put chat on here, but I think I put the wrong chat when I made the screen. So chat hasn't been on the screen.
That it has not.
I put the wrong
I thought that was
chat.
intentional.
I mean, if it works better that way.
You'd have to figure out a place for it to go.
Well, I was gonna have it more like in the middle of us right here, like in the middle of the floor right here.
That would work.
But yeah, my little bit of scuff. Oh wait, no, I actually had it set up in front of my podium to pop up on my podium, I guess, when I highlighted over it. I don't know. I forgot what I did, obviously, and it didn't work, so we need to put in a different link. But yeah, this is gonna be it for the show while I fix my little bit of scuffs we have for the next show, and then the collab on Saturday.
All
So,
right.
Thank you, Shin.
Yes, thank you as well. Remember, kids, eat your veggies, recycle, be good to your parents, and that's all you need.
Eat your veggies. Not the ones that are cake that look like veggies, your actual veggies.
No, real veggies. Gotta go big and strong, you know?
Yes.
Big and strong.
Don't drink and drive. Yes, good one, Light.
Don't do that either, yeah. Don't do anything and drive.
Don't do
other than
any of the
drive.
bad things, kiddies.
Yeah, no bad. Or I'll come find you.
Stay in drugs. Don't do school like that.
Well, hold on.
Oh my god. Okay. But yeah, that's it, you guys. We're gonna head out. Send you off with my ending screen. Bye.
Bye-bye. Mwah.
Mwah.